Named after the late Congressman and civil rights leader John Lewis could advance next week in the House. Democrats say the legislation will restore provisions of the 1965 Voting Rights Act struck down by the Supreme Court. But the measure is unlikely to attract much support from Republicans who argue elections and voting should be governed by the states. The House measure would need 60 votes to break a filibuster in the 50-50 divided Senate. On Capitol Hill, Jared Halpern, Fox News.
A Florida judge is refusing to close pretrial hearings to the media and the public in the case of the man accused of killing 17 people in a 2018 mass shooting at a Florida high school. A Broward County Circuit judge rejecting a motion by defendant Nicholas Cruz's lawyers, claiming intense media coverage jeopardizes his right to a fair trial. Several media outlets had challenged the motion. Cruz's lawyers contend open hearings might publicly reveal inadmissible evidence that will never be heard at trial, and that news coverage could otherwise create bias among jurors. There's a new complaint against the late financier Jeffrey Epstein from a woman who says he raped her when she was a teenager.
The woman, known only as Jane Doe, filed with the New York State Supreme Court last Friday. It was the final day the case could be pursued before a Child Victims Act expired in New York that allowed looks at crimes beyond their statutes of limitation. The victim says she was raped and beaten in or about 2003 on 2 occasions at Epstein's Manhattan residence. Damages sought would be determined at trial. Epstein took his own life in a Manhattan jail in 2019 before his trial on charges that included sex trafficking. Gernal Scott, Fox News.
A winning streak is snapped on Wall Street. The Dow down more than 200 points at the closing bell, but it was down over 400 during the session. I'm Lisa Brady, Fox News.
Mescla, read all about it. Check out Mescla Chamorro Fusion Bistro in Tucumán for lunch. Serving up some savory seafood specials such as spicy garlic shrimp, candied salmon, or better yet, the local favorite, snapper or shrimp escabeche. Available only during lunch hours. Make sure to come down and try these tasty specials and more. Call 969-2652 for more info or to make a reservation. Located at the Grand Plaza Hotel in Tucumán, Mescla Chamorro Fusion Bistro. A true taste of Guam.
Business owners looking to expand, looking for an opportunity to give your business, looking to give your business a chance to succeed. There's a commercial space for rent at the DNA building in Agutya. This is a 10-story building with 24-hour security guards, maintenance, and custodial staff. A fitness center, close proximity to the Superior Court of Guam, Agutya Post Office, and several banks. Call DNA Incorporated for more information. Telephone 477-9053 or 9054 or email dnainc.guam@gmail.com.
A great burger is about balance. So with triple the beef, naturally we triple the cheese.
What about triple the bacon?
This guy gets it. My triple bacon cheesy jack combo. Only at Jack in the Box. Limited time only. Price and participation may vary. Small drink and small fries.
Diving and seeing our coral reef full of life.
I really love hiking the trails.
I really love going to the beach. The sunsets are amazing.
Your island needs you. Help preserve what makes our island home. Stop those who threaten our wildlife, plants, and environment. Install the free Toka app and report poaching, littering, burning, and other environmental crimes. Call 864-TOKA or install the free Toka app today. This public service announcement is brought to you by the Department of Agriculture, UOGC Grant, and Choice Broadcasting.
Half a day, it's 6:06. I'm Mona Silva Tyron with a look at your local news on the point. There was another COVID-related death recorded, marking the 144th. The 65-year-old man died at the Naval Hospital on Monday and was said to have had underlying health conditions that were complicated by the virus. Meanwhile, the Joint Information Center reports this morning there were 63 new cases of COVID identified out of 1,080 tests performed on Monday. That brings the island's total to 9,081. 11 cases were identified through contact tracing. 390 people remain in active isolation. That includes 14 people who are in the hospital with 2 in ICU. The CAR score this morning at 9.5. Now, of the new cases, the Joint Information Center has included 3 DOE students. 1 employee also tested positive for COVID-19. The 3 separate cases of COVID-19 involve students at Agueda Johnson, FB Leon Guerrero, and Teton High School. The employee is assigned to Estumbo Elementary School. Now, Public Health is working with DOE to identify any close contacts, and Those people will have to be tested and will remain in quarantine until they're cleared by public health. Cleaning and disinfecting of the schools is also taking place to make sure that the schools are open for normal operations today. Meanwhile, the Candid News reported over 100 students remain in isolation in quarantine after being identified as close contacts. Each have been tested and will have to await clearance from public health before being allowed back to school. DOE, in the meantime, will work to improve social distancing guidelines within each of the schools. Well, during the virtual meeting yesterday, the Vaccine and Antiviral Prioritization Policy Committee discussed developing a policy for COVID-19 vaccines for moderately to severely immunocompromised individuals. The U.S. Centers for Disease Control and Prevention now recommends that people whose immune systems are compromised moderately to severely receive an additional dose of either the Pfizer or Moderna vaccines at least 28 days after completion of the primary vaccine series. The committee agreed that public health will come up with the guidelines to determine eligibility for the additional dose of the COVID vaccine for those patients. Meanwhile, public health will continue their drive-through testing at the old carnival grounds this morning. That will run from 8 a.m. until 12, with about 400 tests that will be offered. Also, those vaccination clinics will resume today at the Southern Clinic from 9 until 12 and at the Micronesia Mall. That will run from 11 until 6 tonight. We'll have more news right after this.
Oh, what's for breakfast at KFC under $3.95, you ask? What's for breakfast at KFC that's different than the other guys, you ask? KFC's chicken wrap, sausage wrap, the Colonel's chicken congee, chicken fried steak, sausage biscuit and gravy, and biscuit sandwiches made with KFC's original fluffy biscuits. All for under $3.95 and all only at KFC. Plus, with waffles and the Colonel's chicken fried rice, we've got something for everyone.
So visit KFC for breakfast today. It's finger-licking good.
Public health will still seeing large numbers of individuals turning up at the mall as they distribute those SNAP PBT cards to parents of eligible DOE students. Those cards will be distributed at the center court of the mall from 11 until 6:30. Meanwhile, there's some positive news for the SNAP benefit here as Guam's set to get a bump in funding for the program. The island will receive an additional $27 million in supplemental nutritional assistance program benefits over the next fiscal year. The Department of Agriculture announced a reevaluation of the Thrifty Food Plan, which will allow for up to $130 million for the SNAP benefits on Guam. And a couple charged with the abuse of two teenage boys have been released on a $5,000 personal recognizance bond. Each have been ordered to stay away from their alleged victims. 37-year-old David Kanata and 29-year-old Sherry Nauta, both alleged to have tied up the boys for days, beating and starving them. The 13 and 16-year-old boys are now in the custody of the Child Protective Services. One of the boys was recently found on the road in Dededo. Both defendants are scheduled to appear back in court on September 3rd before Judge Vern Perez. And those are your top stories here on The Point. Here's Ray with your weather.
People here should be infuriated about that story where the dad, apparently this is not the first time it's happened. 2017, he was under charges and it never went to court.
Yep.
Just like it never happened. And these kids have been enduring this nonsense here for the last 4 or 5 years as a result of whatever the math is. But it's just ridiculous how these kinds of things can get swept under the carpet, and then all of a sudden we're up in arms when it pops up again. Why is people surprised here? 6:11 in the morning. Did you ask for weather? We can do some weather, and then talk about some of the interesting things that I've gotten. I got a note forwarded to me a few minutes ago that indicated that there have been emergency meetings at the flight line at Andersen Air Force Base. Apparently, preparations are being made for incoming Afghan refugees. Guam, a safe haven again. We'll see. Mostly cloudy today. Scattered showers and isolated thunderstorms. The southeast winds 10 to 15 miles an hour. Daytime highs today should be about 86 degrees. Tonight, expect mostly cloudy, scattered showers, easterly winds up to about 15 miles an hour, and overnight lows should be about 78 degrees. You might be wondering what things look like on the eastern side of the island. We can't begin the day unless we know what things are looking like in Jeff's backyard over at Pirates Cove. And here's one of the pictures. Didn't this look like something went off, like a bomb out there somewhere?
Yeah, Godzilla.
Gogeta's out there watching the sunrise here on Guam. Some nice colors, and hopefully that means that we're going to be out of this wet, snotty weather that we've had over the last few days, and might even be able. My God, you're right. That is kind of some Godzilla-looking pictures here. You can almost make out the face, Real Joe.
Yeah.
It's like Josh Tenorio.
Oh, my.
Mostly cloudy, scattered showers and isolated thunderstorms as we move into Thursday night and into Friday night. Expect daytime highs in the upper 80s and lows in the upper 70s. Heat index today about 90 degrees. It's going to rain. 40% chance of rain today, but less for tomorrow. Sunrise this morning was at 6:08. Sunset tonight is going to be at 6:40. Hashtag tell the others. We'll look in the clouds and see what else we can see in the patterns. It's 6:13. That's news and weather together, brought to you by Bank Pacific, banking on the Pacific for 67 years. JV International Safety Equipment has it all for you. Fall protection, rain gear, traffic signs, speed bumps, custom signs and banners, PPEs, fire extinguishers, plus more. Check them out on Facebook at JV International Safety Equipment Company or visit their website, www.jvisec.com. JV International Safety Equipment, Guam's leader in occupational and environmental safety equipment. Call 688-9524. JV International Safety Equipment, located in Harmon Industrial Park.
Always here to help you. This island's our home. To live within our friends and never leave alone. Now we're banking on the future. More services to choose. Bank Pacific, where others put flags and we place rules. Viva! Bank Pacific!
That's my favorite. I love that little kid with the breaking voice there. It's talking to me, man. I love that. All right, welcome to the program. No, that's not time for that yet, right? Portions of the program brought to you by APL American President Lines, a global presence with a local home. Also being brought to you by the guys over at Nissan Guam. And they got all kinds of fantastic rides. 2021s all over the lot. Let's clear those things out. This is now the time for you to go and figure out how you're going to conquer what's left of 2021. What? Sorry, you've seen the calendar, right? You know what month we're in. It's the middle of the 8th month. You realize that 2022 is that far away. I tell you what, I can't think of a better way to start the new year with a new with a new ride from Nissan. Here's the way you do that. Swing by there, show them your credit cards, and show them your check stubs and things like that, and they'll say, "Ooh, we like your credit profile. 0 down for you, 1.99% APR for you. Easy financing on your favorite Nissans. Let's go for a test drive. Pick one out today. T's and C's apply. Find out what they are at Nissan Guam.
The Ray Gibson Show. Morning talk that matters. Call now, 888-TALK. That's 888-8255.
Did you watch the speech yesterday? You didn't? Normally I wouldn't either, because you know me, I'm lazy, and it would kind of interrupt my nap time. But I thought maybe I do need something to help me go to sleep. So I went to Subway, GPO, no line, and got myself a BMT on their new multigrain. That is so good.
Yeah, I went to Subway last night, too.
Oh, did you?
Crazy, yeah, pastrami.
Oh, you had the pastrami?
I had to, man, yeah.
I was looking at it. I was looking at it, but I don't know. It's like I know I'm going to like that, but I know I'm going to like the BMT. So I went there and got the soda, got the thing. This is after me lecturing Real Joe yesterday morning about, I'm not eating a lot of bread anymore.
Yeah, that's true.
But it's hard to avoid the bread over at Subway, right? So I got myself one of those. And so I get to the house and I go, okay, I want to know, I'd like to hear what exactly it was that the president of the United States said, and it was a whole lot of what we like to refer to as blame casting. Blame casting. That's what I was there. You remember what's his name in the movie Apollo 13? And they said, stir the tanks, and they stirred the tanks, and then all hell breaks loose. And that's what Biden was trying to portray himself as. What? I inherited somebody else's treaty. I didn't want to be the 5th president. I didn't want Kamala Harris to be the 5th president to have to deal with this crisis. And now there's the interesting thing that I've been looking at. Oh, let me say, go to Twitter if you want to be amused, some of you, because it seems to me that there are many in the Twitterverse here that are turning their backs completely on, because it used to be that I had pretty good lock on the mainstream media and all of the journalists are in the bag for the White House and the Democrats and everything, and even many of the mainstream media journalists are having a hard time with the idea that they now have to back up Joe Biden. Kamala Harris, they were looking at Kamala Harris to come out and to participate in a presser on the Afghanistan thing, and her words are apparently, they ain't gonna pin any of this blank on me. Wow! So you've got the office of the vice president now at odds with the office of the president, looking to spread the blame on this as wide as they can into the administration. And there is at least one call for impeachment. You know, here's the problem. It's from Marjorie. What's her Green? The lady.
The lady who loves us?
Yeah, no, she loves. Yeah, that's the one. Why are we sending so much money to Guam? What are we?
Foreign country.
Boy, that 6:18 in the morning. Anyway, welcome to the program. Excuse the mess. It is the Ray Gibson Show on 93.3. The Point. My name is Ray. Real Joe. What do you do around here again?
I get the phone. I'll do it.
That's been a productive endeavor in the last few days.
It pays well, sir.
It does.
Pays well.
It does. You don't need to go on Snap, but if you do, just recognize that the increases in the Snap program to Guam, because they've made some, quote, changes to the algorithm, could mean about $27 million more for Snap beneficiaries here on Guam.
Sweet Wagyu.
And it's sweet Wagyu, sweet Kobe beef. Can I use a Snap card at, say, Doucet? Can I go to? Is there anywhere at the Tsubaki Towers where I can take a Quest card and say, just put the meal here? Is Uncle Sam going to cover this? And I wonder out loud as I was looking at that particular story, going, $27 million. That's a lot of money in Guamanians' bank accounts, or at least in their Snap cards. And I wonder when somebody gets all that money in their Snap card, do they still pay any attention at all to the Commission on Decolonization? Are they going, wait, you mean I would lose all of this if you guys over there had your way? I don't know about that, guys. Here. 20 after, the Me Machine is online, 988-5874. That's 988-5874. I can't remember which one of the viewers sent me this yesterday, but I finally got a chance to put it up on the screen here this morning. There it is, ladies and gentlemen, the new leadership of the country of Afghanistan, Taliban members, including one that's getting some particular love from Joe Biden. Did you see this one yet?
That's nice.
That is nice. Welcome to the world stage.
I wonder what that smells like. I'm just wondering.
You know.
Maybe lamb.
Goat, Billy Goat.
That guy has an AR-15 there, Ray. That's one of our weapons back there.
I don't think that's an AR-15.
It is, man.
I think it's the different one. Is that's the one
it's
that shoots
an AR-15,
automatic?
And the other guy has an AK.
Right.
The guy on the way in has an AK, but those guys there have AR-15s, man. That's our weapons.
You know what? You're absolutely right. They're weapons, and apparently they left the keys in the Humvees and the Apache helicopters and all of that. So it's going to be another morning where we basically give Joe Biden and all of his supporters a hard time for this debacle that is the fall of Afghanistan. And Mon and I were talking in a video that I will not be able to unsee. I will not be able to unsee. I told you the videos and just the human toll that is being taken in Afghanistan and the airport crowded, the tarmac crowded with thousands of people desperate to get out of there, out of harm's way and away from the Taliban and their very creative ways to kill you, and some clinging to airplanes as they're taking off, falling from hundreds of feet in the sky. And did you see the video?
Yeah.
You know which one I'm talking about? The guy got caught in the landing gear
right there from
and
the plane.
The plane is up in the air, thousands of feet up in the sky, going at 400 miles an hour,
legs whipping around,
body whipping around. And I'm sitting there going, why did I click that link? And apparently you can see it in more places. Mona Silva Tyron, however, has a much stronger constitution than me, and you actually watched that video.
I did.
What'd you think? I mentioned it to somebody last night, and all I could hear on the other end of the phone was,
yeah, wow,
yeah. Don't send that link around. But again, this is that kind of desperation where you think this is what is for sure going to happen to me if I stay on the ground, but this might happen to me, or this might not happen to me. Eesh. I don't know if I could choose. I'm not good with heights to begin with, but then again, I'd never preconceived the idea that a human body hurtling through space on
and you watch
on an airplane.
You see them on you actually see them clinging onto the plane as it's taking off of the field. And you wonder, how long did they expect to be holding on to this thing?
Yeah, this is not. None of them are going to be short flights. And again, what I'm hearing this morning is that there are conversations and meetings taking place as we speak in under cover of darkness up at Anderson Air Force Base in the front line. They're trying to get things as confirmed as much as possible. So we'll see who we're able to reach out that can give us information on the record about what may be happening with refugees here on the ground. A couple of ways that you can think about this. One of them is what is the civilian response going to be? Will people leaving basically with the shirt on their back and little else? So what are their immediate needs going to be on the ground? Who is going to take the lead on that? Will it be the military? Will they be the guys in charge? Will it be Anderson Air Force Base? Will the Joint Region be doing things? Will they reach out to the civilian community for whatever kinds of assistance they might be able to get? And the answer on that one is, I don't know yet. We'll wait and see. On the other hand, there are bedwetters. A couple of the tweets that I saw yesterday on what I thought was a very heroic takeoff from the crew of one of these ships, these aircrafts. Transportation, transports, I guess they call them, big one.
Yeah.
600 some odd people in the belly of this aircraft, and my guess is that's a little bit tricky to take off, right? How do you trim everything up to take off with that kind of weight in
that's
the
maxed
thing?
out for sure.
That's my guess, and so I'm reading up on some of the comments from people, and they're talking about how great the transport pilots and their crew are, and then every once in a while you get somebody. There's not one mask. No, those people are wearing masks. Oh, my God. Have any of these people been vetted? Do we know what kind of diseases they're going to be coming into? It's another round of refugees. We're going to have little Kabuls in every city of the United States of America as a result of all of this. And I thought, wow, my God, what a bunch of pinheads. But those are the kind of people that we are surrounded by. I am not one of them. Real Joe's not one of them. Montesilva Tyrant is not one of them. And we'll see what we can do to find out a little bit more. Oh, one other interesting story from the Twitterverse. I just looked at this and said, oh, really? Because we live here on Guam, I think, in the land of overreaction. Huh? It's 16W. This is a storm that couldn't pull the hat off your head. And we went to Pico. We went to condition 3 on this storm, out of an abundance of caution and overreaction. And somebody's going to give me a hard time saying, Ray, one of these days is going to be a real big storm, and you're going to be giving it a hard time, blah, 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 blah. I've always been serious about storms. But really, this one here, untrained eyes taking a look at it. At any rate, the other thing is now in New Zealand. Have you heard about what they're doing in New Zealand?
No, the haka?
No, they do the haka the same way that you and I make the sign of the cross before we eat, right?
Okay.
So that's the way
they're locking people down there.
They are locking people down there.
Oh man!
Again.
Wow.
You know why?
And they're pissing people off.
They've had a surge.
Oh, really?
They have a surge. They have one positive case.
Ouch.
They have one
Major.
positive case in Auckland, and now they're going to lock the entire country down for 3 days, and Auckland in particular, because that's where the case is, for 7 days.
Wow.
And can you guess what the response on Twitter was?
No.
Oh, you get people, oh my God, that's leadership. I want to live in New Zealand. I want to live in New Zealand. They're saving lives out in New Zealand, people. Just absolutely amazing.
So that one guy's still alive? They haven't killed him?
No, apparently they haven't killed him. It's, for whatever. Nothing else is known except because they've had such a big run-up. You remember there was all these press stories about how great New Zealand was because they locked everything down and then they tightened up the country and all of that stuff. And our vaccination numbers kicked their vaccination numbers. But I'm sitting here going, really? One case in Auckland, and they're going to shut the entire nation down again, and they're getting nothing but buy-in from the people that live there. Anyway, more on that a little bit later on. In the meantime, 6:27 in the morning. Let's talk about these freedom lovers here.
Sometimes you want to go where everybody knows your name, and they're always glad you came. You want to be where you can see our troubles are all the same. You want to be where everybody knows your name. You want to go where people know people are all the same. You want to go where everybody knows your name.
Oh, man, I got to the thing late. And near as I can tell, it's just Colin Clark and Pam Duvall that are watching the show. Yeah, that's it. We're doing the entire thing for just 2 viewers here. Now, there's actually more. Sarita Garin, we were asking what it's possible this room smelled like when the picture was taken yesterday, and she says maybe onions and cumin. Maybe is the smell. Like wet Old Bay or something like that. I don't know. Oh, my God. Okay. Jose Martinez says, nope, not going to watch those videos. Reminds me of the Twin Tower vids that I also did not want to see. There's Pam Duvall. That's desperation, people. If you ever wanted to know what it looked like, there you go. Ismail, the guy in the landing gear, must have watched Con Air.
Oh, yeah.
Did they have that in Con Air, too?
Yeah.
Where the guy fell out of the airplane?
He got into the landing gear.
Dona Mila Inta Taitano, sad that this is happening. It absolutely is. Where was the FAA on the airfield, says Colin Clark. Forget about the FAA. Every man for himself. You've ever heard the phrase, every man for himself? That's the definition of it. That is the definition of it. You just throw your guns and run in the opposite direction and hope these guys don't try to find you. Kamikaze, Joe Ed Cruz says, takes kamikaze to a whole new level. And let me just say, Joe Ed, I appreciate you referring to yourself on Facebook as Joe Ed Cruz as opposed to Joe Cruz or the real Joe Cruz. All right, so we've got
welcome back, Joette.
We got to have guardrails along here. Dennis Larson, Guam, the land of coconut milk and honey, land of overreaction and super non-reaction. I got Bertha Maza Cruz saying good morning to everybody. Eunice Mendiola, Brad Wood, say what? Lady D, quarantine those refugees in a tent city. You know what? That's probably going to happen. That's probably going to happen.
Yeah.
You don't want them at your house?
Oh.
You don't want them to enjoy some of that Jigo hospitality, babe?
Futon.
I got a futon. Right? I'm gonna hang out in the office there. Dan Rosal. Good morning to Cody James. There's your FAA. There's Cody. What are you hearing? Just DM me. And I will pretend that I got it from somebody else in the high command. But you know people, you know your way around the tower up there. Man, what are your boys telling you from the other tower up in the other? I know you got me thinking.
Tower to tower.
I know another guy. No, I don't have to go tower to tower. I can go tower. I can just go to tower. I know a guy if he's working. I don't know. He's one of these guys. He's like way up there in the high command.
Yeah.
And so he can determine, depending on how much he drank the night before, whether he's working today.
Yes.
Yeah, not coming in, just send the new guy. Send the new guy. We're not landing a whole lot of planes up here anyway. Bottom of the hour, 888-8255, 888-TALK is the telephone number. Do your kids go to Catholic schools? And what is it, 4 kids that they've got there? I got a kid in a Catholic school. What was it that they were saying? Out of an abundance of caution, we send this communication. On August the 16th, we were notified of a student who tested positive in our school community. Student was on campus the day before she was tested. There's no reason to believe that COVID-19 was contracted from her time on campus at Academy. I was in conversation with DPHSS for guidance. Following that, we have enacted the following. The student who tested positive will not be joining the school community for on-campus classes or other activities. She'll be allowed to return to campus after 10 days if she is asymptomatic. If she was symptomatic, she would be allowed back on campus after without a fever for 24 hours. Her symptoms improve. She receives medical clearance from her doctor. Close contacts were identified through seating charts and interviews. Close contacts are individuals who are within 6 feet for 15 minutes or more. I think maybe that's the answer to your question, Mana. We'll jump on that in a second. Close contacts who are not fully vaccinated have been informed that they will have to quarantine for 10 days. After those 10 days, they may return to campus. Quarantine for close contacts would be reduced to 7 days if they test negative starting on day 5. Fully vaccinated close contacts and those who have documented previous COVID-19 infection and are asymptomatic do not have to quarantine at all. Additionally, our health counselor has been trained to conduct the Abbott Binax Now test, a rapid test that can be conducted on campus. Results are ready in 15 minutes. So it looks like they're taking the appropriate precautions and moving along with the 2021-2022 school year, as opposed to the way we would have reacted to it this time last year.
Shut it all down.
Shut it all down. Burn it down.
Yeah.
Burn it down. We had COVID-19 here on the campus. Burn it down. We'll just put gasoline, fire, and start all over again.
Yep.
Bring back the Nets in North Carolina. You know what I'm saying? But it looks like we've got a better handle on all of this, and my guess is the mitigations and the steps they're taking at the Department of Education with their number of sick kids is likewise going to be the case. Although it's going to be the question is, Are there parents of students at the Academy of Our Lady of Guam that are freaked out enough to say, well, that's it. We tried. Somebody got sick. No more in-person learning, or no more, in-person. We're going to do this online now. Do they have the options to do that? Unlike the Department of Education, where if you've already made your decision on in-person learning, that's what you got until a whole nother semester breaks over, because they're set up for the numbers they've got in the places they've got. It's going to be interesting over the next couple of days. 6:33 in the morning. The Ray Gibson Show will continue right about now with the first look at news and headlines and things like that from Mana Silva Tyron Hoff. Mana, what happened?
Well, we have now recorded the 144th COVID-related fatality. The Joint Information Center confirms that the latest death was of a 65-year-old man who died at the Naval Hospital on Monday. He was said to have had underlying health conditions, but they did point out that he was not vaccinated. Meanwhile, they say that 63 new cases have been recorded out of 1,080 people who were tested on Monday. There are 390 people in active isolation. Now, the latest count has a CAR score listed at 9.5. Meanwhile, the Department of Education confirms that there were 3 of their students that have tested positive, and one teacher, the Catholic schools also confirmed that 4 of their students have tested positive. And from the Facebook page of the Archdiocese, they're looking for someone to take over the superintendent position. The job announcement was made. There was no indication on where Juan Flores has gone.
I know where he is.
Where is
he? He's at one of these charter schools.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. In fact,
the job announcement is there.
I meant to send a note to him the other day, but I got lazy. Busy with something. I was distracted. But yeah, I was going through some of the Condition 3 deals, and I got one from Juan Flores, but it didn't say anything about what was going on with the Archdiocese and their schools.
There's a job opening, so if you want to apply and you need to fill your 3 applications for the week,
where do we go to apply? Right from we'll put that. I went to Higher Guam, and then I went to the Archdiocese to see if they're having.
Archagania.org/jobs.
What do you suppose the qualifications are? Because Juan Flores is a highly qualified individual, having been the superintendent for the actual Department of Education, and that's not, you just don't walk into that. You've got to have credentials. You've got
to. You have to be a Catholic.
Have your bona fides. Just what level of sinning would disqualify me from that job?
Qualifications: you need a master's degree in education, previous experience as a principal or a teacher, an active member of the parish or faith. That does help you out.
Active. Let's
there we go.
How do we define active? Right? Do you know when your mass is? Do you know where your mass is?
Model your faith daily, it says here.
Who's your parish priest? Could you answer that question, Real Joe?
I could.
You can.
Yes,
You
Operon.
don't qualify.
Mana, who's my parish priest? Is it still Polly Mike?
Polly Mike.
Polly Mike is still got that one. Dodged that bullet. 6:35 in the morning. Ray Gibson Show. We'll give you an idea of where some of the other great jobs are here in the island of Guam before too much longer, because it seems to me there are 1 or 2 companies that are hiring for jobs that Real Joe and I could probably bluff our way through. Details on that coming up. Starting August 1st, pandemic unemployment assistance claimants must start searching for work to remain eligible for PUA benefits. 3 work searches a week are required. Work searches include registering on HireGuam.com, meeting with employers, submitting resumes and applications, and attending job fairs. Only a few are exempt from the work search requirement. This includes those working reduced hours, those in training programs, and self-employed individuals. Remember, PUA ends September the 4th. Now is the time. Let's rebuild our workforce. For more information, go to dol.guam.gov.
Everyone has a busy schedule these days, and sometimes we forget to schedule our routine dental checkup and cleaning. Don't neglect your dental health. Schedule one today with Dr. Robert Yang and his Smile Team, conveniently located at the East West Business Center on Marine Drive, Upper Tumon. Call us today at 647-8702 or 3. Again, that's 647-8702 or 647-8703. We make smiles happen.
Industry night. Hey, remember, you're old enough to remember when somebody said something about industry. That was like techno.
Yeah.
Everybody go hang out at Deviate all week.
Yes.
Industry, right? Doc Martin.
It was new wave,
Doc Martin
man.
shoes. Mana, do you still have your Doc Martin shoes?
Yeah, we mosh.
They last forever. I'll bet you there's some girls at Academy that are wearing Doc Martens.
I bet.
That go back to the 90s when industry night was a big deal.
They're
now,
wearing their mom's shoes.
You might be wondering why this is important, Ray. Why are you even bringing it up? Because Wednesday night at Applebee's is industry night. And that meant They're looking for frontliners, that is doctors, nurses, med staff, firefighters, police, hospitality folks, and just identify yourself as one, and you get 15% off all the regular food items. This goes from 5 until 9 every Wednesday. Tomorrow is ladies' night over at Applebee's, and then they've got a thing called open mic night. And I haven't been there for one of these things. Guests can come up to the stage to sing for a chance to win a $25 bar tab or a gift certificate for their next visit to Applebee's. So if you think you got the stuff, open mic night. Don't know if they let you do poetry slams or anything like that, but you can always ask at Applebee's.
Technology is the great connector. It puts songs in your pocket, connects long-lost friends, and has made the world easier, faster, and smarter. And now, First Hawaiian Bank's new mobile app can help you do the same with your money. Whether you want real-time financial tracking with MoneyMap or tailored advice on your personal finances with daily insights, we're giving you the power to connect to your finances from anywhere, like never before. First Hawaiian Bank. It all starts with yes. Equal housing lender, member FDIC.
Yeah, 638. Love that YouTube comment this morning from Island Smooth. You talk about the possibility that refugees could be flying into Guam. Who knows? Any minute now. Island Smooth says all part of the Biden contingency plan. Apparently, they had contingency plans for everything. All kinds of stuff. You know, if we're going to have to evacuate these guys out, take all the bacon off the airplanes, we're not doing any of that here. We're going to make sure these guys get off to a good start. And then there's, like I said, then you got some people that are going. There's me, and I think the governor. I think I can speak for the governor when I say, yeah, bring these people here. Guam is a safe haven. It's a great place, and they may find, like so many members of the Vietnamese community, that this might be a good place to spread out roots. Now, on the other hand, you got people saying, quarantine them. Come put them behind a fence and put a quarantine. It's a big dome around it. We don't want to breathe the same air. Now, we're all going to have to get on the same page eventually here, guys. 20 away from 7 o'clock in the morning. Is there traffic? Let me take a look at the traffic gizmo. I haven't bothered to queue this thing up to see if there's anything going on. And there isn't right now. Everything looks like it's running clear. Not a whole lot up in Anderson Air Force Base through Jigo. A little bit of traffic around Ukadu already, but 1 and 3 are running fairly clear. Intersection traffic most everywhere else, and not even a whole lot going on at Big Navy in Sumai. So I think everybody's just kind of getting the hang of Wednesday, so go ahead, take your time this morning. 20 to 7, Ray Gibson Show. Be right back.
Today, indoor air quality is more critical than ever, and the experts at Carrier have a solution for your protection and peace of mind. Introducing Carrier's OptiClean air filtration system with HEPA filters and optional UV light accessories. Designed for hospital isolation rooms, yet versatile enough for businesses, schools, and other large areas. This machine can cover 1,500 square feet. It's compact, portable, and only runs on 110 power. Contact Carrier at 647-COOL to learn more.
For all your back-to-school needs, contact Express Financial. Express Financial is consumer lending at its very best. They also have a host of dealer service programs with quick approvals. There are 3 ways to apply: over the phone at 637-9834 or visit their office in person at 600 Harmon Loop Road across the street from Cost You Less. You can also visit their webpage and apply at myexpressfinancial.com. In most cases, you'll get your money the same day.
The Ray Gibson Show. Any speaker, anytime. Morning talk that matters.
Interesting. You know what? I'm looking for yesterday's celebrity birthdays because I don't think we got around to reading that. Did we do any of that stuff yesterday?
I think we did. If I remember, yeah, I think we did.
Well, I'm asking you.
Yeah, I really do think we did.
All right, just kind of curious because I don't remember doing it, and I got the thing out here for today. Celebrity birthdays that are going on today include former First Lady of the United States, Rosalind Carter.
Oh, nice.
Is 94, the Peanut President's wife.
Yeah.
Isn't that just great that they're both of them? They're both still alive after all of these years. And now that Biden's got this little debacle in Afghanistan, her and Jimmy can go to sleep knowing that he is no longer the worst president of the United States of America. Robert Redford is celebrating a birthday today. Anybody want to take a guess as to how old he is?
92.
Oh, my God.
85 years old.
Oh.
Wow.
And Martin Mull is 78 years old today. We got Dennis Leary, the amazing Spider-Man. who is 64 years old. I got, let me see if there's any other names here I recognize. Ed Norton. You might recall him from The Incredible Hulk, Born Legacy.
Yeah.
52 years old today. From The Cosby Show, Malcolm Jamal Warner is 51 years old.
Okay, I remember him.
Do you? Okay, here's another name from around that same time.
him.
Caitlin Olsen. Anything?
No? Olsen twins?
No, different one.
Okay.
It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia, 46 years old. And, and the rest are all these young people that I don't watch their shows or listen to their records, so never mind any of that. Special events today, Bad Poetry Day, Mail Order Catalog Day. Wow, do you remember catalogs?
Yes, Sears.
Back in the day, what was your favorite catalog? J.C. Whitney.
Yeah.
J.C. Whitney was J.C. Whitney. If you're a car guy, a car enthusiast at all, I mean that was like mandatory reading. I'd steal J.C. Whitney catalog from people. Those were always good.
International Mail.
The Daymark catalog.
I like the Sears and the J.C. Penney because they were fat
J.C. Penney.
Yes. Back in the day, and you could. I remember once ordering something from there, from the catalog, opened it up, saw something I liked, and then called the 800 number, gave them a credit card, and a week later it came. This is like super early in the 90s, right?
Yeah.
And they're like, wow, this stuff really works. It's like we're living in a civilized country. What a great age this is.
Sky Mall.
Sky Mall.
Sky Mall. I think there's still a Sky Mall site online. I got to look it up. I haven't looked it up in a while.
Crazy. Oh, my God. That was always the best part. That was the best. That killed the first hour of flying, right? It's just going through
and
it.
You need everything.
Yeah.
I might have a picture in the archives that goes back to one of the last times I saw a Sky Mall catalog, and they were selling something, for cleaning windows. And I looked at the scene in the window, and it was a shot from the Archdiocese. It looked like a shot from up in Agana Heights into Agana. I'm looking at this thing 100 times. I looked at it going, that's Guam. That's Guam. Guam is in the Sky Mall catalog.
Yeah, there's still a Sky Mall.
You'll remember.
SkyMall.com.
Well, what's the point? The point was it was in the actual airplane, and you could make an order or something like that from the Sky Mall. And if depending on how long you were traveling, so I could make an order on Sky Mall, have them deliver it to Pop's house, and by the time I'd get to Pop's house, it would be there, and I'd be able to bring the thing home. But Sky Mall was a great part of the travel experience that has gone away, like with free meals and nice flight attendants or whatever. 6:45 in the morning. So you were asking earlier about Juan Flores. I'm sorry, not asking. Monad had noticed that there's a job opening for the boss of the Archdiocese schools, the superintendent of the schools of the Archdiocese.
Yeah.
And which leads to the question of where in the world is Juan Flores? And the answer is, and I got this the other day, as I said, and it was an announcement about the orientation that was supposed to take place on Monday at Career Tech High. And first days of classes were apparently today over at Career Tech High. That might be a good excuse to call him up and bug him, right?
Yeah, I'm gonna try
but I did in the email. I did send a note, said you're welcome to call in anytime. Gave him the telephone number and nothing. Now it is Career Tech High, and there's a little bit of a biography on the bottom of the email. Career Tech Academy Charter School is Guam's fourth and newest publicly funded charter. CTech was established to 1. Provide a sound, problem-based integrated academic career tech high school education. Number 2, provide students with opportunities to receive certification in various career tech areas before or upon graduation from high school. And number 3, develop and enhance students' role as productive members and leaders in their community. All right, I like the idea. There's certain people that go, if you don't send your kids off to a 4-year college in the States and pay $75,000 a year for 4, 5, 6 possible years in the school, well, you're not doing a great thing for your kids. I'm with what's his name? Is it Joe Rogan?
Yeah, Joe Rogan.
I'm with that guy. Not everybody needs to go and throw whatever at a parchment over 4 years. And how many kids are coming back with student loans that are basically crippling their financial ability to move ahead until all of this is taken care of? And then how many of them are coming back with the degrees and certifications and diplomas in career fields that have no? I'm not talking to you, Siri. Cancel. whatever that is. But how many people are going through all of this stuff? And you know what? Where a good vocational technical career might be all that they need to be able to have a pretty good life and some decent income opportunities, especially when you start looking at the world of hard versus soft jobs. And you're going to say, well, Ray, give me an example of a hard job. All right, anything Jesse Mendiola does.
Oh, yeah, that's a hard job.
It's a hard job. We've got these heavy equipment mechanics, 2 years worth of electrician experience, carpenters, masons, heavy equipment mechanic. Do you suppose you could MacGyver your way through any of those? You think you might be able to bluff your job, your way into some of these jobs?
I'll fake it till I make it, man.
Because they're $18 an hour for a
I'm
heavy
hungry.
equipment mechanic.
I'll fake it till I make it.
Right?
I know what a wrench
Do you have
looks
your
like.
own? Do you have your own tools?
Where's
are
the
you
10
metric
millimeter?
or English?
Where's the 10 millimeter, man? Come on.
The 10 is all you need for everything. The 10,
Yeah,
I
but
swear
it's
to God,
always
the
missing.
10 is because it's the one that you need for everything. They should just give you a whole stack. It's like, you buy the thing for guys that put patios down, and they're all the same, like number 5 Phillips
Same
head,
tools,
right?
yeah.
Yeah. So it's just we need to do the same thing with the 10 millimeter. We've got who else is hiring? JJ Global. Look, it needs a mason or carpenter. These are the jobs that Real Joe and I might be able to bluff our way through. Janitorial manager.
Oh, yeah.
Which is an all-you-can-eat position, by the way.
I like that.
Grounds maintenance manager and administrative assistants. I suppose we could do that. East-West rental, right?
Yeah.
Jim's hiring. Diesel mechanics, truck mechanics. You think?
You could do it, man.
Whatever.
Those are small engines.
Yeah, right. Parts associates. Here, parts runner. I'll do that. I'll be that guy, the parts runner. Because, fast like that.
Yeah, you're right.
Anyway, 6:49 in the morning, 888-8255, 888-TALK. More on that subject a little bit later on. In the meantime, Cousin Troy is on the phone. Hey, Cousin, how you doing there?
Good morning.
Good morning, my most favoriteest, most beautifulest cousin in the whole wide world.
Good morning, my favoriteest and most beautifulest cousin in the whole wide world.
I love you, man.
This is the most awkward portion of the program, period.
But thank you for the update, because there is I didn't know if this is why you're calling, but the accident that's up in Harmon?
Oh, yeah. I'm just calling to say hi to you guys.
Oh,
hi. Talk about
Nice. Nice. All right. Well, got a couple of things that are going. First of all, a shout to Jose Martinez. Our Jose's got. He says his boy is going to Career Tech starting this morning.
Oh, nice.
So happy first day of school. Swing by the principal's office and say, "Hey, what's up, Juan? How come you don't want to talk to Ray anymore?"
You're on your way, dude.
Beneath you? Is that what's going on? And of course you got the blurb that was forwarded to me that I forwarded to you about apparently a meeting taking place at the flight line at the place Anderson Air Force Base, perhaps in anticipation of the arrival of Afghan refugees to Guam.
Yeah. I got that same information, and I sent it over to Adam, to Crystal, and I asked if the governor or she are aware of this, but they haven't gotten back to me. So I think the longer they don't respond, the more we can surmise.
Yeah, we'll make stuff up until we get the official answer from the government of Guam. To the degree that the government of Guam is actually involved in something like this. I mean, it's like the Roosevelt or something like that. Is this an opportunity for Governor Liu to milk something from the federal government, or is this the kind of thing where they say, look, there's enough cultural differences between Western society here on Guam and folks that making their way from Afghanistan, a whole other part of the world with different community values and mores. Is it possible that they might just do as they did with the Kurds and put up a couple of big fences and some lights and things like that and just go, okay, these guys over here away from everybody else? What do you think?
Well, I'm pretty sure that the Joint Region Commander would have called the governor as a courtesy to let her know, like, hey, this is happening or did happen or will happen. So some of the governor's office should know something's happening. But how many refugees are we talking about? And are these the interpreters? Who are they?
It's from the chaos that was obvious from all of the videos that we've seen in Kabul. It is possible it's just the whatever number of people they could get on the airplane. I don't know that they were vetting any of them for any experience or eligibility for the SIV. So I don't know. I don't know what's going to be happening there. I don't know, and there are other people that are concerned because it sure looks like there's a whole lot of military-age men. Where's all the women and children refugees? What are we seeing? So I don't know how all of that's going to be handled. As at least one observer has said to me, President Joe did it the hardest way possible. There had been conversations about moving these refugees in an orderly fashion to Guam going back months. And all of us said, well, we examined all of the contingencies. Wow, things melted down. Things escalated rapidly here on the ground. We couldn't anticipate any of that. Well, it should have been one of the contingencies that you looked at and you had a plan for, because clearly there's no plan.
And I think they're trying to blame this, or they're trying to say this was a Trump administration plan, but I don't think President Trump was about a pullout date. So when President Biden gave a date for the
the Trump did have a pullout date, and moving towards that, and we're not talking about a whole heck of a lot of guys that were on the ground in Afghanistan to begin with, but certainly a view of interpreters and American assets that needed to be taken care of at the time. I think one of the things that might have spurred our enemy on even more was when Biden came out, and his pullout date was the very symbolic September 11th. And it's possible that the Taliban looked at that and said, "Oh, really? September 11th? How about that, boys? Get ready. We're going to show that we're going to give these guys a lesson."
It became a do or die, and now it's just more of a die.
Sure looks like that. At any rate, other big stories that you're going to be covering yesterday. Did you happen to catch any of the Zoom meeting with the Army Corps of Engineers and telling the governor and the legislature how they were going to help us build a hospital?
Yeah, so we'll have a published story on that today. We covered it live. 2,000 people saw it, so that was good. So I was in a meeting at Notre Dame at the time, and with the rest of Candice who was covering it.
Are you going back to school?
No, my niece is going to school there. But and I was visiting Sister Gina and Christopher, and she's so cool. There was what I gathered from the meeting was that the Army Corps can really help guide policymakers on understanding costs and financing. And, unfortunately, many of our legislators need that help. But fortunately, the Army Corps is here to help. So.
Are you suggesting that maybe the members of the 36th Guam legislature, many of whom have never had what I would refer to as a real job, all of a sudden we need to school them on high-level project management and finance?
I'm almost certain that Senator Tello-Tadegui had paid people to do her math homework from the 5th grade on.
Where's that video? Somebody sent me a video.
Of the linguini?
Yes, the linguini video. Real Joe, do me a favor. Let's get some audio on the thing. All right, now frame this for me if you would, cousin Troy. Where's this video from? What's the backstory on this?
I have no idea where that. I guess inside the legislature, I guess they were doing something that involved Chamorro language. I don't know. Maybe they were talking about her stupid idea of renaming all the villages. And she thought, I'm going to speak some Chamorro. And she thought that the word linguini was a Chamorro word. I don't know.
Might be wondering what that video looks like. Let me play some of it, and we'll get the audio on for you as well.
Of the Inifresi, which in part reads, Libahu protecti, zani defendi, ihengi, ikatura, ilinguini, iari, ihanun zon itano Chamorro. Madam Speaker.
Linguini. Mara, you had to do the Inifresi every time you guys got together. What's the word?
Linguahi.
See that?
The white girl? You're asking the white girl?
Yeah, yep. All right, we'll take a look at the Inifresi phrases that pays us here and see what everybody's got to say about all that. And any thoughts on where things might be going? I think as people wake up this morning and review some of the joint the JIC numbers here, the Joint Information Panel numbers, where they're talking about over 9,000 confirmed cases here, and what is it, 64 overnight? Are you hearing any grumblings and the possibilities of any kind of additional restrictions that we haven't heard of before?
So on Sunday, I asked Crystal that question: should we anticipate any restrictions this week? And she said, no, not at this time.
No, nothing linguini.
No linguini.
No linguini from the governor's office on additional. You just know that there's somebody chomping at the bit. You just know that there's somebody just raring to go and say lock it down. Like New Zealand, one new case in New Zealand, they've locked down the country.
Oh, wow.
Yep.
Too bad for them, huh?
All right. What are you eating?
Education is looking at moving students into the temporarily to online mode. I don't know what would trigger that, or what rules there would be, or guidance there would be for it. But they're seeing high numbers of students going into quarantine. I think it's more aggressive contact tracing that they're doing than regular contact tracing, according to John Fernandez.
Right.
We'll try to get more information about that today. But like at Unsalon Middle School alone, they already have more than 100 students in quarantine.
But right.
I just almost still trying to chatulon.
It's all right. So, it's good for you. There's low carb stuff there, 658 and change. Well, it is interesting what's going on at Unsalon. You remember the first day of school last week where they had car line and this big long line outside in the first day of school where the kids didn't seem to be observing any kind of social distancing. And the point that I think I've made once upon a time is that, you know what? They're kids. They're kids. They're fidgety kids. If you're worried about COVID-19 and you can't necessarily vaccinate them, so you do as much as you can by way of mitigation, but understand that might not always work with, especially with some kids. You and I, Cousin Troy, real Joe, rambunctious little boys, and we would not have sat quietly and worn our mask and social distance. I would have gotten all Joe Biden on all of my classmates. Do we need to send somebody over there to pat you on the back? You going to be okay?
Yeah.
I have it. It happens to me all the time with beetle nuts. I'm just, I think maybe.
The freaking chatulon, man, always happens.
I'm feeling for you. Listen, if you survive, give me a ring back a little bit later on, okay?
Okay, bye.
All right, love you, cuz. You have a fantastic rest of the day. From Candid News, there's
southbound traffic lanes from Candid News, southbound lanes along. This is Army Corps Drive by Fatima Road. There was an auto pedestrian accident, so it says that all southbound lanes are closed and traffic is being rerouted because of the accident.
All right, we'll take a look at the traffic gizmo and see if there's any evidence of that going on right now. In the meantime, you just keep it where it's supposed to be. 7 o'clock in the morning, Fox News Live on the point.
Lisa Brady, Fox News. The U.S. is ramping up evacuation efforts in Afghanistan a day after the chaos at the airport in Kabul as thousands tried to get out after the capital city fell to the Taliban. The Pentagon says the airport is now secure, but it's not U.S. forces who control the outermost perimeter.
The Taliban have informed us that they are prepared to provide the safe passage of civilians to the airport, and we intend to hold them to that commitment.
National Security Advisor Jake Sullivan defending President Biden's decision to stick with the withdrawal plan. Meantime, the Air Force is investigating human remains found outside a cargo plane.
The Air Force Office of Special Investigations has opened a review after the discovery of human remains in the wheel well of a C-17 aircraft. That aircraft delivered a load of equipment to Kabul's airport Sunday and was surrounded by hundreds of Afghan civilians. A statement from the Air Force says the air crew decided to depart as quickly as possible. Online videos showed people falling from the plane as it was taking off. The human remains were discovered after landing in Qatar. The plane has now been impounded for an inspection.
Fox's Jared Halpern in Washington. We may be wearing masks on airplanes, trains, and buses into next year. 3 sources telling Reuters the Biden administration plans to extend requirements for travelers through January 18th. There's no confirmation yet. The current order is set to expire next month. Hawaii's largest private hospital system has run out of ICU beds. They're now canceling some elective surgeries and diverting emergency patients to other hospitals. And we're just getting word that Texas Governor Greg Abbott tested positive today for COVID. He's been tested daily. Today was his first positive test result. The governor's office says he is fully vaccinated, currently experiencing no symptoms. America is listening to Fox News.
Nice smile. So perfect and all.
Thanks. I owe it all to Dr. Robert Yang and his smile team. They do wonders for a healthy, happy mouth.
Got teeth? Don't wait until they hurt. Schedule your routine checkup and cleaning with Dr. Yang and his smile team. Suite 119 in the East West Business Center, Upper Tumon. Call 647-8702 or 3.
The best thing that happened to teeth since toothpaste.
Dr. Yang and his smile team.
They make smiles happen.
Parts of a new abortion law are being challenged in court.
The Arizona law would ban abortions of babies with Down syndrome or other genetic diagnoses. The suit also challenges the provision that confers people's rights on embryos and fetuses. The Arizona law signed by Republican Governor Doug Ducey earlier this year would also put penalties on doctors who could be fined or lose their licenses and charge those who help raise money for the procedure.
Fox's Colonel Scott, Republican state legislatures around the country have passed new restrictions with an eye toward a new Supreme Court challenge. As the Taliban offers assurances today, an Afghan director issues a dire warning.
A female director from Afghanistan has issued a plea on Twitter about what could come as a result of the collapse of Afghanistan after the Taliban seized power amid the withdrawal of U.S. troops. Sarah Karimi is the first and only woman in Afghanistan to hold a Ph.D. in cinema and filmmaking and serves as the general director of the Afghan Film Organization on Twitter. She called for help from the international community. She wrote, "In the last few weeks, they have massacred our people, kidnapped many children. They sold girls as child brides to their men. It's a humanitarian crisis, and yet the world is silent."
Fox's Michelle Polino. The UN's Human Rights Council plans to hold a special session next week after dozens of countries supported a request for that from Pakistan. The U.S. transportation chief makes a family announcement, posting online that he and his husband have become parents. Secretary Pete Buttigieg not offering details yet, noting the process isn't finished, but he says they're overjoyed. He's the first openly gay cabinet member confirmed by the U.S. Senate. COVID concerns resurface on Wall Street, also rattled by events in Afghanistan. The Dow drops 282 after 5 record highs in a row. I'm Lisa Brady, Fox News.
Pastrami is back at Subway. Pepper-crusted beef layered with crispy pickles, mustard, and melted provolone cheese. Nothing comes close to the pleasure of sinking your teeth into that chewy, juicy, well-seasoned pastrami. It's happiness in a sub. Head down to the nearest Subway restaurant and satisfy your craving for the deli perfection that is pastrami. Subway. Eat fresh. Pastrami sub is available to all Subway locations on Guam and Saipan, including NCS, for a limited time only.
Family Finance has been serving the people of Guam since 1959, and they'll continue to be there for you in the years to come. Whether you're looking to get a personal loan for that summer staycation or paying off those long overdue bills, Family Finance has got you covered. Apply for a personal loan from $1,000 up to $3,900 by calling Family Finance. Agana 475-4545, Upper Tumon at 647-5626, or in Dededo at 633-4473. Family Finance, serving the people of Guam since 1959.
Go green, go solar, and save big with Nambo Insurance. When you power up your home with solar panels, Nambo Insurance will pay up to $350 toward your power bill. With Nambo, you can enjoy great savings while going green and helping to save Guam's environment. At Nambo, it pays to go green. Terms and conditions apply. Visit Nambo.com or call 477-9754 for details. Nambo Insurance, proudly serving Guam for over 50 years.
Off today at 7:06, I'm Montesova Tyron with a look at your local news on the point. Well, police are on the scene of what is being said to be an auto pedestrian accident on Route 16. That's Army Drive by Fatima Road in Harmon. This, according to Sergeant Paul Tapau from the Guam Police Department. Candid News sent out the notice earlier this morning that all southbound lanes are closed as traffic will be rerouted. Motorists are asked to seek alternate routes and expect delays. Again, this is taking place along Route 16, Army Drive, near Fatima Road. There's an auto pedestrian accident. Meanwhile, another COVID-related death recorded, marking the 144th at the island, has seen the 65-year-old man was at Naval Hospital when he died on Monday. He was said to have underlying health conditions, but the Joint Information Center also points out that he was not vaccinated. Meanwhile, the JIC report says that there were 63 new cases of COVID identified out of 1,080 people who were tested on Monday, bringing our island's total to 9,081. 11 cases were identified through contact tracing. Now, they say that 390 people are in active isolation, but only 14 of those in the hospital, with 2 in intensive care. Of the new cases, there were 3 DOE students that were tested positive, as well as an employee. The Archdiocese also confirms that 4 Catholic students have also tested positive, according to the Archdiocese Facebook page. The students, 2 at Father Duenas, 1 at Academy, and another at Notre Dame. Well, there was a meeting yesterday. It was a virtual meeting with the Vaccine and Antiviral Prioritization Policy Committee. They discussed the developing policy for COVID-19 vaccines for moderately to severely immunocompromised individuals. The CDC recently recommended that people whose immune systems are compromised get an additional dose of the Pfizer or Moderna vaccines at least 28 days after completing the primary vaccine series. The committee agreed that public health will now come up with the guidelines to determine eligibility for the patients who will get a third dose. Meanwhile, COVID testing continues today at Teton, and that'll be from 8 until noon, with 400 tests to be offered. Those vaccination clinics taking place at the Southern Clinic will continue as well today from 9 until 12, and at the Micronesia Mall from 11 until 6 tonight. We'll have more news right after this.
At GTA, we continuously develop digital solutions to build resilience for island businesses in need of agility, speed, and stability. Whether you're a home office or large corporation, we have professional services tailored by our GTA Enterprise experts to evolve your business digital transformation. Let the strength and reliability of our network power your business for years to come, and call us today at 671-644-1000. GTA, we start with you.
A couple charged with the abuse of 2 teenage boys have been released on $5,000 personal recognizance, each also ordered to stay away from their alleged victims. The 37-year-old David Kanata and his girlfriend, 29-year-old Sherry Nauta, both alleged to have tied up the 2 boys, beating them and starving them for days at a time. The 13 and 16-year-old boys, both now in the care of the Child Protective Services. One of the boys recently found along the road in Dededo wearing only underwear. Both defendants again scheduled to appear back in court on September 3rd before Superior Court of Guam Judge Vern Perez. Again, the boys are in the care of CPS. And the Archdiocese announcing the job opening with the apparent departure of Juan Flores, who's now working with the Career Tech Charter Schools. The job announcement for the Superintendent of Catholic Education. They're looking for motivated educational professionals to apply. You can get the job announcement by going to archagana.org/jobs. And those are your top stories here on The Point. Here's Ray with your weather.
Way too many qualifications. Way too many qualifications. Does it say what it pays?
No, I don't know. Does it?
Well, it shouldn't be a surprise.
I'm going to say upwards of 100.
$1 million. Salvation. Salvation. You'll go to heaven when you die if you're the superintendent and you last a year. 7:10 in the morning. All right, here comes the weather. See here. Mostly cloudy skies. In today's forecast, scattered showers and isolated thunderstorms are in the evening forecast as well. Expect southeast winds 10 to 15 miles an hour. Daytime highs today should be about 86 degrees. Mostly cloudy, scattered showers this evening. In fact, that stays with us most of the rest of the week. Mostly cloudy skies, isolated showers, and a slight chance of thunderstorms. They've just cut paste from one day to the next. Heat index today about 90 degrees if it comes out for work, which is important. I got junk to do in the boondocks today, and I'm hoping that I'll be able to do that without coating the car with red dirt. We'll see what happens. Sunrise this morning was at 6:08, and we sunset tonight at 6:40. Hashtag tell the others. I know some of you are going, but oh no, come on, it's been soggy and snotty and rainy out there. Are we really going to do a sunset? I think now is going to be the perfect. I'll bet you tonight's a red sunset. I'll bet tonight is a red sunset. So if we're going to be hanging out, red bikinis. That's what I'm saying. And mankinis as well. Did you know there's such a thing, Real Joe?
I do.
Scary, isn't it?
Yeah.
7:12 in the morning. That's news and weather together. This is The Point.
Looking for a seamless medical trip to Manila? St. Luke's Medical Center's Pacific Islands Medical Referral Package offers a convenient end-to-end medical travel service to St. Luke's Global City. With the package, they also provide assistance in the processing of your air travel requirements, airport to hospital transportation, and hospital room upgrades, all for free. To learn more, call Phil MD at 671-637-5433 or visit their office in Tamuning across the Baltej at St. Luke's. We love life.
Now on Guam.
511 Tactical, offering the largest selection of tactical apparel and gear for law enforcement, first responders, tactical operators, and recreational enthusiasts. We're located next to Bargain Tactical, Guam's largest firearms dealer. Find both stores, Route 16 Army Drive between the Dungeon and Little Langs. Open Monday through Friday, 10 to 7, Saturdays 10 to 5, and closed on Sunday. Visit us online at tacticalgearguam.com. Follow us on Instagram and Facebook at Tactical Gear Guam. 511 Tactical, now on Guam. Always be ready.
It's always a good time to be thinking about food from over at KFC, and you're going, yeah, you know, but they're not open for breakfast, are they? Hello, KFC is open for breakfast. They got all kinds of stuff. Addis Caldo, they call that the Colonel's Chicken Congee, and they got all kinds of wraps there. And if you want something that's got a little bit more of a platter feel, like you're going to sit down and enjoy it, I know you're going to enjoy it. They've got this KFC fried chicken steak, right? White gravy, and then they've got this white rice that it goes next to. But I'd wink. Whoever's behind the counter, boy or girl, wink and say, can I get that with the Colonel's chicken fried rice? Have that with some coffee. They got an iced coffee as well. And if you're like Manumco, I got, what is it? Free coffee for the Manumcos and a free newspaper with your meal. Is that you again? It's the president. And understand, every once in a while she'll get that phone call from Washington, D.C., and she has to stop what she's doing. Anyway, that's 7:13. Enjoy your breakfast today over at KFC.
It's the Ray Gibson Show. Call now, 888-TALK. That's 888-8255.
Today's the 18th, right? Joe?
All day.
Well, maybe I did do these yesterday. I was talking about celebrity birthdays. Did I say it was De Niro's birthday yesterday?
No.
No, you'd remember that.
No.
Because we would have made a big deal about
we're
Robert
a day
De
ahead,
Niro.
right? Yeah.
We would have made a big deal because it's
Forget
Robert
about
De
it.
Niro,
Yeah.
right? You know what, everybody's got a favorite De Niro movie.
Yeah.
And anything that he's made in the last 5 years is not my favorite De Niro movie. I think he's reached a high point, and then he started doing that Meet the what's his
The
name?
Fockers.
Yeah, he started doing those movies. I'm like, oh my God, these are awful.
Yeah.
But you know, and he plays the same character in all of the movies, regardless. But you know, you got to go back in time, a certain kind of Robert De Niro. And I think my favorite one was always the De Niro that was in the Godfather movies.
Yeah, I think most people would probably agree with that.
Yeah. And one of my dad's quests was he wanted to take all three of the Godfather movies and put them in order. Because there's a lot of Godfather 2 that is a prequel.
Yeah.
And, you know, what do they call it? Genesis stories to the rest of the Godfather, and it annoyed my dad to pieces. So there might still be around in the family archives a DVD that he made that puts them in the correct order. It takes all the scenes and puts them in a correct order.
He cut them up?
He cut them up.
Oh, my
Pop
goodness.
cut them up.
Wow.
Robert De Niro, 78 years old today. Belinda Carlisle from the Go-Go's.
Oh, Circle in the Sand.
We got the beat. 63 years old.
Wow.
Sean Penn turned 61. Donnie Wahlberg from the New Kids on the Block and Blue Bloods is 52 years old. It is Baby Boomers Recognition Day.
Hey.
You're not a baby boomer.
I
Shut
know.
up. Now, Jerry Roberts and I are baby boomers.
Yes, sir.
Oh,
although,
wow.
Although at different ends of the baby boomer spectrum.
Shut up. Who asked
You
that?
guys like to make babies.
There was a trade show that I'd gone to, and they were talking about demographics and the shift in the demographics. You know, before we had Generation Z, black, blah, 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 blah. You know, so there was never a big enough population of anybody before baby boomers, and all of a sudden, hey, we got baby boomers.
Yeah.
And so it was a long time after the war until I peg it about 1962. And so they said, you're baby boomers, you're in the goalposts of the baby boomer generation, but you're not really baby boomers. And they said, we given you a different name. I said, okay, what's that? I said, you're Brady boomers.
Brady boomers.
As in the Brady Bunch.
as in the Brady Bunch. We were the children of the original baby boomers, is who we were, and a whole different experience and expectations about the world that we got from watching the Brady Bunch on television. All families were supposed to be just like that, and we were all supposed to have an Alice that lived in the house and made ground beef, whatever's all the time.
Big forearms.
Exactly.
Marsha.
Alice. So that is kind of interesting. Baby Boomer Appreciation Day, Thrift Shop Day, Vanilla Custard Day. I love thrift shops and antique stores. Can I just say that now?
Yeah.
There's something about going in there. There's. I'm not going to call it a thrift shop because everything in there is more expensive than it was when it was brand new. But you know where that coffee place is? You got Carabal's over here. Then there's a coffee place, and then you go upstairs.
Okay, yeah.
And you know what place I'm talking about?
Yeah, I do.
You do?
I do.
Okay, so they sell, it's like, I want to say secondhand nostalgia type clothes.
Yeah.
And so you can go in there, but it's not like old days. It's not like going in. You're not going to find anything from when you and I were kids.
Really?
Yeah. Because for this generation, nostalgia is the 90s.
Yeah.
They go back. Wow, you remember the 90s? Back in the day.
Yeah.
Back in the day when they were still making good Madonna and Whitney Houston songs. Yes, exactly that kind of thing. But it's a great place, and I've discovered that it is either. Our daughters are either out gallivanting on the road,
Measuring
burning up
the road,
gasoline, or they're at the Crystal store, or they're at that thrifty store, the old timey toy store up in Agagna. That's where you can generally find those kids. 7:18 in the morning. Ray Gibson Show on 93.3 The Point. You can hear Jerry Roberts is already in the studio, getting queued up for today's extra point. And I will make a point. Do you have it on your side?
What's that?
I left it for you. It was right here.
Oh, no, this.
Yeah, that. Did you see that?
I did.
Yeah. Do you know what
the
that
coveted Bob Klitsky Blue Star?
You got a blue star. For the last couple of days, he has not awarded a blue star to the editorial staff at the PDN or the Guam Daily Post.
I won't comment on why
Civilians got it.
Yeah. Wow, better than an Emmy.
Helen Middlebrook on Monday, Jerry Roberts on Tuesday. May I make a bold prediction?
Yes.
Peter Tureen is going to be the winner of the Blue Star today.
Really?
Yes.
Oh, wow.
Peter is that's Frenchie.
Yeah.
And he called in yesterday, and he said he's sending in an editorial, and he was hoping that they were going to publish it. And Frenchie, I'm here to tell you, they published it, and you might need to start thinking about what you're going to wear to the awards show when you get your blue star from Bob Klitsky this afternoon. We'll watch and wait and see what happens. All right, you ready to take a look at what happened on the market?
Yay.
Sure, why not? That's what we're supposed to be doing around this time period anyway. Hold on a second. It's not... That's me trying to scroll down on the screen. I think it's choked on a story about Texas Governor Abbott, who has banned masks in his state, and he's now tested positive for COVID. I was going to say, which is what all of the Libbies in the world are going to say. Burn on you, dude, in your face. Mask works, 6 foot distancing works, vaccination works. But the question I have is, does the guy is he vaccinated? Is the governor of the state of Texas vaccinated?
Is he?
He is vaccinated.
Yeah, he is.
Yeah, and he still got COVID-19.
Yes, he did.
Back at you in your face. Yeah, I did what you were. Everybody tell me what to do. All right, where have I got S&P 500 in the red here this morning? So is NASDAQ, so is the Dow Jones. S&P 500 lost 31 points. The smallest loser, 4,448. NASDAQ, 130, almost 8 points in the red here today, 14,656. And the Dow Jones Industrial Average off almost 300 points. I'm rounding up here, 282. It's 35,343. The rest of the markets, it's kind of a mixed bag there as well. FTSE's up, but by 27 points. Nikkei off by almost 100. Hang Seng off by 435 points. 25,745 for them. If you're in the Shanghai Index, they're off by 70. And the DAX off by 3.78. Outside of the FTSE, the only other index that is up right now is one I like to refer to as the misery index. That's the VIX. Normally, if all of the markets are green, VIX is red. And when all the other markets are red, the VIX is green. It's looking good for the VIX. Take a look at some of the equities that are traded there and get an idea of why it works out like that. As I said, the big loser here was by points is the Dow, but there were some winners in that. Top 5 there include Merck & Company, United Health, Johnson & Johnson, Travelers, and Verizon Communications. Down around the bottom, Home Depot, Boeing, Caterpillar, Walt Disney, and the Dow. On the commodities, oil trading at $66.58. Gold at $1,781, off by about $1 in trade there. So we'll see what happens. 888-8255, 888-TALK.
Tapas.
Tapas. I don't know. You know what? Give me a second for Tapas. What's your name? Real Joe?
Ruckus.
Yeah.
44,811 for the Bitcoin.
All right. Now, there was something about a token deal that I was reading up, token burning or something like that, about these cyber currencies. Do you know what that is?
No. Oh, there's something about the supply and demand of it.
Mm-hmm.
When they get rid of a certain amount of the supply, it should impact the demand. Somebody out there who's really into this stuff, they may want to comment on that. But when they do that, it reduces the amount there, which when you reduce the supply,
obviously the demand should increase and the prices will go up.
The price, yeah. I think that's what it is.
It's something about the invisible hand and cyber currencies trying to do something along those lines to give some. I would submit that it was there to give somebody an idea of how we can adjust the value of these cyber currencies.
Yeah,
to give it, here if we can't pin anything else on the value of cyber currency, how about making it so that there are fewer cyber dollars out there available?
Actually, they're doing other things with it, which I was not. This whole area of DeFi. I don't know what I'm talking about.
I didn't mean to quiz you.
There's another area of coins.
Okay,
that is coming. That's getting very big now, and some of the coins are creating other coins because they are not coins. They're like platforms unto themselves, and so they create sub coins. And some of the sub coins are used in different ways. So there's different values here. I mean, some of these things are not just meant a Bitcoin.
Yeah.
Some of these things are meant to house other coins for people that want to create them.
Is this like a spinoff? Is this like going from Archie Bunker to Maude and the Jeffersons?
Yeah, kind of like that. And in some cases, the spin-off coins are worth more than the original coin was on the market. I think it's crazy.
It sounds like it's absolutely crazy. 7:24 in the morning. Am I hearing sniffles in there? You catching something? Or you just?
Oh, man.
No. Is it
Check
COVID?
them out, dude.
Huh?
Is it COVID?
It's not COVID.
Just checking.
Why's your hand shaking?
All right. Well, let's get into it early then. It's 7:24 on a Wednesday morning. Jerry Roberts
Did
is
you get Tapas?
What's that?
Tapas.
Oh, thanks. Yes, I do have the Tapas
It's
number.
Thursday. It shouldn't be frozen.
It is not frozen. Tapas is trading at $69.56.
So we have come down below.
We're down below
line.
70. Yes, we are down below 70. Not quite inversion. Still a little bit more valuable than West Texas crude, but under 70.
Under 70, and therefore, should the gas prices not adjust downward?
You're
talking
talking to me. You're talking to me about Tapas the same way I talk about you when I talk to you about like Bitcoin. Like at some point, one of us is going to give the other the sacred wisdom that determines whether or not today is the day that the guys over at the gas company are going to be making an adjustment to the price of their gasoline.
Just adjusting.
Is it possible that we could take a look at $69 barrels of Tapas crude? However, the instability of the world market now as a result of the loss of an entire country of Afghanistan to the Taliban, maybe that will have an impact on the price of fuels.
Why do you have to say things like that?
Well, because it's the big game. It's the big play in the world game right now. Everybody is watching to see what's going to be happening there. Taliban says, and they are pathological liars, that don't worry about it. Everything is going to be fine. In fact, if anybody wants to leave the country, we promise that we're going to let them go unmolested to the airport and catch the next ride out of town. And don't worry about the women and the girls in this country. They're going to be fine as long as they recognize that we're going back to Sharia law.
Yeah.
But here's the more interesting thing, and I think ought to be concerning to folks that are playing around with the game here, is when you stop and think about it. Biden isn't giving a lot of press conferences. He gave that 18-minute ramble yesterday, and basically said the buck stops here, but blamed the whole debacle on everybody else. Can't get Kamala Harris to say anything about it. She's essentially gone into hiding as well
because she's the new president. As soon as he steps down.
As soon as he steps down, and she doesn't want to have these dark wings of death beating over her at the time. And then you've got the guy that wants to talk most about it, who has also been implicated by Joe Biden, and that would be Donald Trump. Yeah. Donald Trump can't speak on Facebook. He can't speak on Twitter. He can't go to YouTube to tell his story. But who is on social media and giving press conferences? The Taliban. The Taliban.
But you said
that's where we are in this upside-down world,
But
Jerry.
you said that they are pathological liars.
Absolutely.
Now, do you think that pathological lying is limited to Afghanistan and the Taliban?
What were the other names that I mentioned? 727. Jerry Roberts has got the extra point, being brought to you by Guahan Insurance Services and our friends over at First Hawaiian Bank, where it all starts with yes.
Today, the story of Grace, who managed a department at ABC Industries. A new employee named Philip was hired to start in her office, and for a while, things were great. And then, not so great. Philip's performance fell off. What happened next is a lesson for all managers. That's coming up next on The Extra Point.
When's the last time you looked at your homeowner's insurance?
A homeowner's policy protects much more than just your house. It also protects you against claims from someone being hurt on your property. If a visitor is injured at your place, how much are you covered for? The smart thing to do is get the answer today.
That's the Insurance Extra Point. Get out there and make something good happen today by calling Guahan Insurance Services at 475-1162 or visit us at the Camacho Landmark Center in Tamuning.
Technology is the great connector. It puts songs in your pocket, connects long-lost friends, and has made the world easier, faster, and smarter. And now, First Hawaiian Bank's new mobile app can help you do the same with your money. Whether you want real-time financial tracking with MoneyMap or tailored advice on your personal finances with daily insights, we're giving you the power to connect to your finances from anywhere, like never before. First Hawaiian Bank, it all starts with yes. Equal housing lender, member FDIC.
Okay, so Philip came on board, and for the first 60 days, well, Grace, his supervisor, was excited about his work and his work ethic. Then things changed. He was a no-show for a one-to-one meeting they had scheduled. It was rescheduled, and he was about a half hour late for that one. There was car trouble both times, you see. Grace wasn't happy about the explanation, but she let it go. She'd successfully worked with problem employees in the past. Low performance, behavioral matters, people who had trouble working in a team setting. Grace had always managed to salvage situations, increase productivity, and keep people on the payroll. A few days later, Jesse came to Grace and said he'd like to be removed from a project he shared with Philip. He said the two argued about almost everything and that he had other work he could attend to. Soon, there were other complaints about Philip among the team members. And Grace knew she had a growing problem on her hands. She called him into her office to discuss the situation. For an hour, Grace tried to figure out what was going on with him to cause the negative behavioral changes. And Philip offered no clues. She suggested some personal coaching where they could carve an hour out of their respective schedules each week to discuss work issues and monitor performance. To her delight, Philip agreed. 2 sessions into the coaching, Grace was offering some feedback, and Philip stiffened up, disagreed with her statements, then asked to end the session. The next day, he said he didn't want or need any more coaching, and thanked her for her efforts. "I'll be fine," he said. For a few days, things began to look up. Philip's attitude seemed to improve. Then, suddenly, it changed for the worse. Grace tried to counsel him again, but this time, he flat refused. He began to blame other workers for his troubles. Philip had accountability issues. Time optimization was a problem for him, and delivering results on schedule was a big challenge. Grace knew from experience that those things could be dealt with. He also clashed with other workers, had trust issues, and showed a general lack of respect. He would casually waltz into meetings late and sometimes just ignored them. He made people wait for things, and his work was sometimes incomplete. Almost everybody in the department had complained about him. Again, Grace had turned bad attitudes around and thought she could do the same with Philip. However, he would have to accept her coaching. If he didn't, she knew she'd be powerless to help him. After another up and down week with Philip, Grace went to him with a well-conceived plan that, with his agreement and good effort, should result in growth and even put him in position for a promotion. Philip thanked her, but again declined. Grace, out of options, informed her HR manager that Philip needed to go. He was terminated the same day. On his way out the door, he told Grace that he was sad that things didn't work out, and he thought she could have tried harder. Grace shook her head in disbelief. Grace learned that you can fix accountability issues and behavioral problems and most of the troubles that pop up in the workplace. However, that's only when you have a willing participant. Philip was not willing to engage and be a part of the solution. When workers refuse help, there's really nothing else that you can do except to let them continue their career elsewhere and move on to somebody new. That's the Extra Point. Be responsible and make something good happen today for 93.3. The Ray Gibson Show, Guahan Insurance Services, and First Hawaiian Bank. I'm Jerry Roberts.
Are you ever going to retire?
No.
Didn't think so. The reason I ask is they've been looking at numbers.
What would I do?
This.
What would I do?
What? Just this all the time. I wouldn't, and if, as you know, if you're retired, I wouldn't have to pay as much.
Oh.
I'm always looking at the businessman, right? People who retire at or near age 62 receive a welcome but somewhat surprising benefit, a greater relative increase in physical and emotional well-being than those who retire at earlier or later ages. The study out of Boston College pointed out that 62 is the age at which U.S. citizens become eligible to receive partial Social Security benefits. And I'm about 3 years away from all of that. And I always figured, young, healthy, whatever. I just wait until I'm in my 70s and then get the full enchilada, right?
Well, if you get like, what is it? You get a 4%, I think, a year if you wait. For every year you wait, you get 4%, I believe it is, on top of Social Security up to the age 70 and a half. It maxes out then. And then you have to take whatever you got. But the idea is about retiring is a lot of people, they do retire, and then they go into the garden for a year, and they play golf for maybe a year.
And usually die.
They die because they have no purpose to get up in the morning, and they're bored out of their skull. And, I like what I do. I have fun with what I do. I'm blessed to be able to get up in the morning and know I have a purpose in life. So I'm going to continue doing that until people like you tell me to leave.
Well, that's not likely to happen.
And nobody wants to hire me anymore for training. Then, that's when you retire.
That's when you retire.
But, the idea is that I tell people all the time, don't quit. Make them throw you out.
I intend to die right here in front of for this high-old microphone, and I'll utter my last words, which I hope will be... We'll be right back. It's 7:34 in the morning. Jerry Roberts in today's Extra Point. They're pondered that, those of you that are in that age range. Montecillo Tyron's got news and headlines coming up here in just a second, being brought to you by all of our friends over at Burger King, and where they've got that incredible, what is that sandwich? I can never remember the name of the sandwich. The French toast breakfast sandwich. You wait until I get the F word out, right? You're like, French toast. See, you're sly. Anyway, so the French toast breakfast sandwich is available with sausage, bacon, or ham, and sweet buttery maple sauce. Now at BK in Tumon and Hagutnia, while supplies last. Also being brought to you by Ken and Karen over at Top End Pest Control for all of your pest control needs. They're ready for you. Do you guys have something for crabs? I've got it. No, nothing, Mana. I've got a picture of the cat looking out the window to the side yard, and you know what's there?
Pang Lao.
Yes. Yeah, bigger than my girly fist. I mean, this thing is out there and it's looking at the cat like, back off, Chico. Back off. I'm going to go find someplace to hide, and we're just going to be friends through all of this. But I'm just wondering if that is a new thing right now that I got to worry about with all of the, we got this bug here, that bug there, and Pang Lao in the house. And if you don't have anything that we can spray on them to make them go away, do you have a recipe that we might be able to get through as well? 487-5657. Auntie Loli's got a recipe for everything. Find her over at Remax Diamond Realty. You need a recipe to turn your land into some riches. 688-6743. That's 688-6743. Now with the big news and headlines, here's Montecillo Tyron.
Well, if you're on the road and you are near Army Drive by that's up in Harmon, know that there's an accident there and police are on the scene. They've rerouted all southbound lanes, so there's going to be some traffic delay if you're headed in that direction. It's an auto pedestrian accident that occurred about 6:30 this morning. Again, it's Army Drive by Fatima Road in Harmon. Meanwhile, another COVID-related death recorded on Monday. It's the 144th. A 65-year-old man died at Naval Hospital from complications with COVID-19. He did have underlying health conditions, and according to the JIC, was also unvaccinated. Meanwhile, 63 new cases of COVID were identified out of 1,080 tests performed. That brings the island's total to 9,081, 390 people in active isolation. There are just 14 people in the hospital with 2 in intensive care. The CAR score this morning is at 9.5. Those are your headlines right here on The Point.
So I gotta take a look at the quote here, front page of today's Guam Daily Post with regard to that fatality. The patient had underlying health conditions and was, quote, without any verifiable record of COVID-19 vaccination. Mm-hmm. Now, normally, if they were sure he wasn't vaccinated, they would say had no vaccination by way of making a point about getting your vaccine and getting the shots and all of that. Mm-hmm. But in this case, they're saying without any verifiable record of COVID-19 vaccination. Does it mean maybe he's got a card? He had a card on him, or they think he was vaccinated, but they can't find the record? We're not the only ones asking this question. There's a couple of people that have been asking me to see what I can find out about all of that. And I'll do what I can. 7:37 in the morning, and that's Beyond the Box time. Those guys have got you covered. What kind of technology you looking at? You doing some back to school stuff? Maybe you'd like to get yourself the absolute latest and greatest in Apple MacBook technology for which to launch your campaign to run for senator in the 37th Guam legislature. There are groups right now that are beginning to amass one with each other to help identify individuals that might be able to replace some of the losers in the 36th Guam. Some. Most, all, maybe, I don't know. Jerry's always got that look in his eye. And so Beyond the Box has that kind of technology for you. Give them a call today at 888-8269. That's 888-8-BUCKS.
Becoming a homeowner can be a scary process, but it doesn't have to be, especially if you have the right guidance. Break through your fears and go to a real estate professional that will ensure a higher chance of success. That person is Lolita Kamet of RE/MAX Diamond Realty. Lolita also specializes in commercial leasing, land sales, local residential sales leasing, and military and corporate relocation. Don't be afraid. Call Lolita Kamet from RE/MAX Diamond Realty at 688-6743. That's 688-6743.
Top End Pest Control is who you call for all your pest control needs. Got a problem with roaches, ants, spiders, rodents, fleas, ticks, termites? No problem. They do it all. Top End Pest Control is a service-disabled, veteran-owned small business and HubZone certified, serving Guam since 2012. Call them today for a quote, 487-5657, or email topendpest@gmail.com. Check them out on Facebook at Top End Pest Control and give them a like. Top End Pest Control for all your pest control needs.
7:39 in the morning, 888-8255-888-TALK. Portions of the program brought to you by the guys over at Take Care. And you're always talking about the great wellness plans that they have. Well, let me put my money where their mouth is, or their money where my mouth is. Take Care has got health fairs coming up. They say, we invite you to experience the Take Care Difference Saturday, August 21st and 28th, and September 4th and the 25th from 11 until, where's this going to be? First floor, the Micronesia Mall at the old dollar discount store. And they got all kinds of stuff. They got health plan information that's going to be taking place. They'll have a notary there, biometric screenings, gym, fitness partner information, and all the things that you need to do to convince you to make Take Care a part of your healthy lifestyle.
Burger King says thank you to our drive-thru guests with a very special offer. Every Monday in August, visit our drive-thru location in Tumon or Agana. Every 10th car receives a free Fire Grilled Whopper coupon with your order. This is the King's way of saying thanks to you, our valued guest. Check out our drive-thru services daily, 6:30 to 11. Please wear your mask and stay safe, Guam. BK your way, Tumon Bay, Agana, Micronesia Mall, and the airport.
I don't know what a Virgin Pulse is. Mana says the Take Care Difference. This is they're going to have activities, like I said, biometric screening, notary publics, raffle prizes, free giveaways, et cetera, et cetera. Admission is free. And then it says health check / Virgin Pulse. Real Joe?
You're going to take my pulse?
I don't know. You know, back in the old days, the V word, are you a virgin?
Yeah.
Now it's, are you vaccinated?
I'm totally going to this because Take Care has really good goodie bags. So even if you don't win the raffle prize thing, they have these goodie bags.
The swag.
Yeah,
oh, my
cool
God. Okay.
Stuff,
So,
like water bottles and...
Okay, so they've got this bento box. It's about 6x6 square, and it's got all these little cubbies that you can put in it. And my favorite thing about it is on the top of the bento. There's a couple of places where you can snap in your fork and your spoon and your chopsticks if you want to. Really, really well
That's from
thought
Take
out.
Care?
Yes,
What?
daycare. Okay,
Yeah, they have cool stuff.
my other favorite is that I've got, they give me a couple of ball caps, and they look like painters caps. Got the little Take Care logo on the front of it. Absolutely the right color, and I enjoy wearing that. And yeah, maybe that's going to be in some of the swag bags that they're going to be handing out there. 7:41 in the morning. All right, you wanted to talk about traffic. Now it looks like things might have cleared up a little bit on Route 16. There's an accident, a little bit of fender bender, although it's an auto ped. Do we know if there's a fatality on that one?
No, they didn't release any other details other than traffic's being
Yeah,
rerouted.
not a lot of information that is coming out about that, but that ain't the only place where traffic is lousy in the area. Those of you that are on Route 3, this is your new normal, guys. Unfortunately, this it's ugly out there around Ukadu, and as you get closer to GRMC, seeing the same thing happening on Route 27 Alpha up around Kaiser, and then we've got the whole Weddingale thing that's got traffic backed up in that area.
John Ananich asking to look at Route 15.
Where on Route 15?
Good, but
Route 15.
I guess he's taking his kid to school.
Okay, Atticao is going to be a nightmare. The new normal at Atticao is, and then getting into Laddie Heights. That's what you're stuck with. 8, 10, and 16. Take a look at that, ladies and gentlemen. 8, 10, and 16. We got traffic bearing down on Happy Mart, and then you get out and it slows down again to that one good intersection that gets you onto Teason, because nobody is taking my advice and cutting a new hole onto Teason. For the 20,000 people that live and work in Teason, and we've got one stinking road that gets everybody in there. Can we take some of that $1 billion infrastructure money and poke a hole in the fence somewhere that makes sense? Okay. Thank you. Over by, what do we got there? Untalon Middle School. Traffic there slowing down from Untalon Middle School all the way up to the intersection 8, 10, and 16. But wait, there's more. Mana, what's there? What's on that roadway?
Oh, my God.
Carline.
I need to tell you, yesterday on my way home.
Oh, you can stop with the music.
In the afternoon.
Music. It's a long traffic report.
In the afternoon. Traffic from Harvest was all the way to McDonald's.
Yeah.
All the way.
Yeah. And so
Harvest really needs to figure out how they're going to route their motorists into that huge parking lot and the soccer field that they have there. They've got a big footprint.
Well, I wonder if
They
there's
should use it.
a way that we might be able to go from the JS store and because I know that's
Ray's cutting roads again.
I'm making there needs to, we got a new road here that we could put up over by the new JS store, right around the front of that goes kind of in between the JS store and the apartment building.
Yeah.
And just take that road and then just chop it up so that we've got another way to get up on Route 8 by the Best Western.
Great
Can we
idea.
do that with $1 billion worth of infrastructure money that we've got coming out
Because
here?
there's actually an old road that links to Espengo over by where Carbolito is. And you could take that road. I mean,
Well,
of course
okay.
have
So
to pave
this
it.
is the great, the great fiction. This is the great fiction of the Google Maps here. You can see on this. I'm gonna put it right dead center in the screen.
You can see where Espengo is.
Well, you can see where Harvest Baptist Church is. Let me highlight that so everybody can see. That's where Harvest is, and there's a road that goes by the gym, and it looks like it's going into the boondocks. And people say, "Well, I wonder if that's a way that we can get from Harvest out to the Carbolito Road area."
Probably have to
that's
cut
gonna
through
save
people's land. And
you
stuff.
actually do have to go by somebody's. So you go right by somebody's house. It's a barely there peekaboo easement, but you can do it. I don't recommend you do it because my guess is the people that live in that house don't want the extra traffic.
Go, man.
And we'll rocks your car when you get there. Now you might be going, well, is there a way that we can get up there from behind Benson all the way down to World Mart? And the answer is, if you want to hit slow traffic, yes, because everybody else is trying to use that area for pickup and drop-offs in the afternoon. So you ain't saving any money. Although I will tell you, if you're going to be on that road, be on the lookout for an American guy with short shorts doing his yard.
Oh, nice.
That's me, baby.
Oh.
That's me. I got my sunglasses on.
You fell right into
I
that.
just wave at all the pretty girls. You gonna go pick up your kid now? Yeah, how about that? Now you know where I live. Hi. 7:45 in the morning. That's traffic or whatever here on The Point.
Business owners looking to expand, looking for an opportunity to give your business, looking to give your business a chance to succeed. There's a commercial space for rent at the DNA Plaza, Tumuning next to Cost You Less, home to the famous Tokyo Mart, Ma's Kitchen, Yogurt Land, and others. Great foot traffic, 1,320 square feet available. Call DNA Incorporated for more information, 477-9053 or 9054, or email dnainc.guam@gmail.com.
Mescla, read all about it. Check out Mescla Chamorro Fusion Bistro in Tumon for lunch. Serving up some savory seafood specials such as spicy garlic shrimp, candied salmon, or better yet, the local favorite, snapper or shrimp escabeche. Available only during lunch hours. Make sure to come down and try these tasty specials and more. Call 969-2652 for more info or to make a reservation. Located at the Grand Plaza Hotel in Tumon, Mescla Chamorro Fusion Bistro. A true taste of Guam.
I got you. 7:46 in the morning, and we're Mana and I in an intense debate on just what the role of the mayor should be to clear things up over at Harvest Christian Academy. I think maybe just go in one way. Just at some point of the day.
Don't make me run for mayor.
Oh man!
I'm just kidding.
Because it's not a wide road. There's obviously no room there for a center lane or anything like that. So I think maybe there ought to be from the intersection over at McDonald's in the morning. It goes in one direction. So you drop your kids at the car line, and then you jump out, and then you go back through the village, and then out, and then in the afternoon, same direction.
They actually have two pickup points. They have one for their preschool, and then they have one for the regular school.
Exactly.
And so they have two different traffic lines that are trying to make their way into that campus. So I mean, it just creates a difficult situation all the way around. But if you look at Carbolito, I mean, I don't want to belabor this conversation.
Oh no, belabor.
But if you go over to the Carbolito side, they actually only take up one lane, and they only allow for people to turn right into the campus. So it's not anybody clogging the left lane, trying to make a left turn. It's just one fluent road traffic.
And I think the cars over at Harvest are bigger. They're bigger cars. Big, highfalutin kind of rides here. 7:48 in the morning. Hey, guess who's on the phone? Got a couple of interesting conversations we're going to take. I wish I could go longer with Chris Duenas, but I got a guy that actually served in Afghanistan and has helped people get these SIVs on the way out, and he's very cautious and apprehensive about the people that have been left behind and whether or not they will be able to walk up to somebody and say, "Yeah, I was an interpreter." Right now, it's kind of dicey in Afghanistan, and what you don't want to have on you is any old identification that says, "Yeah, I used to work with the Americans here in Afghanistan." So how are we going to take care of those guys, among other things? But in the meantime, 7:48 in the morning, Senator Chris Duenas on the line, and I know we were talking yesterday, but an interesting conversation that was taking place at the legislature with the Army Corps of Engineers. Can you tell me what you learned from that, Senator?
Sure. I learned that there's a term called a charrette, and that is basically a planning tool that the Army Corps of Engineers uses, and it sounds like a wonderful thing that we should embark on.
I thought it was like a cutting board with some salamis and some cheeses and some grapes and stuff like that. I know some places it's a charcuterie, but not a, what did you say it was, a charrette?
Yes. If we introduce a resolution, it would be Getting Our Charrette Together Act of 2022.
Wait a second. You went too fast here. There's going to be people who said, "Excuse me, what? What's it going to be called, Senator?"
The resolution will be called Getting Our Charrette Together Act of 2022.
I love that. It's an interesting conversation. Army Corps comes out and says, "Okay, we got an idea of what it is that you need here on Guam for your healthcare systems, and to replace what you have right now isn't going to be all that helpful down a very long road." So they want to have kind of a what is it, like a 50-year view, and we'd be able to scale up the healthcare needs of Guam over the next 50 years based on this plan.
Well, I think what it is they've done these, and they actually did it for the Naval Hospital. This is kind of protocol for federal projects, right? So I think the real value to it is that they really have a deep team of individuals, engineers. I mean, not that they would be doing the A&E or anything else, but they would be showing how to basically bring all the stakeholders to the table, sit down, establish what you want, and then the path forward. And I think one thing that they actually give us an opportunity for is, I think if we go through this process, we have a much better chance at getting some additional federal grants and federal monies, because we've vetted this project under a system that is well known in the federal government. Now, federal government does, like a government, we do some things good, we don't do other things good. I think this is one of the things that the government does do good, and they have the history behind it in terms of Army Corps of Engineers. So I think it's a good thing to embark on, and I think it's something we definitely have to take a look on. at, and I think the congressman was gracious to bring this opportunity.
Well, I mean, because he's going to break ground on the thing. He's going to be he's going to be the governor when it comes through. I mean, we're talking about a 2-year report. This charrette deal that the Army Corps of Engineers is doing, right?
Yeah, basically
that's just me trying to trigger out a loop here. So don't read too much into it. I just think Mike's the right guy to do it because he's going to be the one charged with taking it after the charrette is released.
Yeah, I got that one, but I just wanted to leave it with you. But yeah, the thing is that I think it's worth taking a look at, and also the one question that I asked is, I said, is this kind of a one-off or is this a tandem operation? He said, absolutely tandem. He said, I met with your task force. They seem to be plowing forward, and they've got a general good understanding of the staff. And the issues with the hospital are really, a lot of it's centered around the current plant that exists.
Yes.
And so the thing is that that's where we come in. He said, we don't really we feel as though the medical professionals are up to par, and it's a good hospital in terms of the functioning and the capability of care delivery. But that structure is just not suitable at all anymore going forward.
There are a couple of questions that I would have asked, and I know that it is early in the process, and we talk about the needs of all of the healthcare needs of our community, including mental health. How do we integrate? First of all, how do we integrate all of the different parcels of healthcare that we have here on Guam? Private clinics, to what degree can they be integrated into the conversation? And then of course we got the military, we've got the private hospital here on Guam. How do we make sure that there's some place where there's an interface or an interlock between the existing healthcare facilities? How do we integrate that in this conversation?
Right, and see, they have experience with that too. They've seen other communities where there actually is med centers and other discussions along those, and that's why they said, the first thing you want to do is maybe decide that you want to scale this project. What do you need right now? What services do you expect to continue or add to the hospital? Because right now your hospital is your biggest issue, and then scale up from there. And that's where the other pieces start to come together. So I thought that was very, a very smart observation, and I think that's exactly what we should be doing. And I know this is a very voluminous, project and everything else to say center of excellence, and we're going to do this and we're going to do that. But at some point we got to say, okay, great, we're all happy about the huge plan. Let's get started on the hospital. And I think that's kind of some of the vision that they brought. Like you want to plan out, what I mean, as far as you can, but you want to also focus on your priority. And I think that was, a sobering view.
The rest of it all has to do with, okay, we've got a couple of years we're going to have to wait out this charrette. Obviously, we're going to have to find some funding. They didn't have a number for the new facility, but we do have a number on what the charrette is going to end up costing the people of Guam. So how do we maintain our existing healthcare facilities, understanding that we've got to be able to put some pennies aside so that we can start building up the new one?
Yeah, so I'm confident that Congressman Nicholas is going to get the matching funds required to get this going if we decide to go down that road.
Okay.
I think the other part is, and this comes to the budget now, I'm shocked that some of my colleagues want to raise the level by $50 million. I'm an automatic vote no on that. I think what it comes down to is, I asked the fiscal team yesterday straight up. I said, wouldn't it be prudent for us to go through a full fiscal year of this reimbursement of the EITC, or if it drops in our lap as a trust fund, and basically sit down at the table and appropriate that going out from there? You're exactly right, Ray. I mean, the bottom line is that, and even Army Corps said this yesterday, we know that COVID and other things, Wuhan virus has screwed things up, but we don't see much progress on the $22 million worth of programs that we told you that you have to do with this hospital right now.
Yeah.
So, sometimes we have to not get ahead of ourselves when we look at this money, because maybe some of that reimbursement that we're getting, if we don't have cash on hand and we're not ready to finance, we're going to have to use cash. And that is a windfall. So I think that we need to dial it back. Definitely don't raise the ceiling right now for the governor. I mean, I just don't think that that is the prudent thing to do right now.
Oh, yeah, but you've got a building full of me too's, and everybody's going to say, we're going to jump on this bandwagon, the build the new hospital bandwagon. In the meantime, Guam Memorial Hospital and its doctors and patients and staff are going to continue to suffer at the systemic imbalances that they have had over the decades.
Unacceptable.
Yeah.
Project going.
Before we get too deep in the weeds on the financing, I do want to bring this up. I sat a couple of years ago on a committee that was looking for and beginning to bird dog the concept of veterans health care facilities, something on the same lines as a hospital facility with full-blown integration of different services, wraparound services for individuals that have served, continue to serve in the armed forces, but might have issues that follow them once they've got that DD-214. So what are the possibilities that in this great healthcare regime we can build something up that is way better than the VBOC that they've got over at Navy Hospital? And make it so that we can handle a greater degree of the load when it comes to our veterans' healthcare needs.
I think that's an excellent idea, and you know the difficulty. The retirees take a back seat when it comes to the current facility that exists, and that's a brilliant idea. Integrate this. That will probably give us a lot more leverage when it comes to federal monies as well. It's off base. It's off a secure location. It just makes sense, Ray, and I think that is something we definitely have to bring to the table and work going forward. I know the congressman would definitely work on something like that as well. So, absolutely excellent ideas.
Well, we could build it. We could build it to suit. Talk to the VA guys. And wasn't there a conversation last year about opening up the Navy hospital more to local veterans?
That's the thing is especially on Guam, we're such a close-knit community. We know our veterans. I mean, we interact with them on a daily basis. We go out and beer with them at the VFW once in a while and things like that. So it just makes sense. It's not something that in other jurisdictions maybe where it's skewed. You don't really commingle that with a civilian hospital. But I think that in this instance, it's very smart because they're our friends, they're our family, and so it's just sensible to go ahead and say.
It's the question of where we send the bill to at the end. I mean, the care, the practice of care is going to be the same. The dispensing of the care and the drugs are going to be the same. It's just where do we send the bill? In my case, you send it to one of the insurance companies, and in their case, you send it up to the VA.
As I remember during the Trump administration, that's exactly one of the first victories that he had. He basically got Veterans Affairs to start streamlining and getting outside care. It doesn't always have to be the government hospital. A lot of times it's better to just move that over to the civilian side and subsidize it. So I think that I have to reach back once again to see where those programs are. But I know that was transforming veterans care in the nation when there were long lines and backed up because the government hospitals were just basically too overwhelmed, and so they started basically outsourcing that, and I think that we're still in a prime spot for that. So I think that is funded and subsidized just like it's funded and subsidized inside the fence.
Yep, I got you. 7:59 and change. Senator Chris Dueñas on the line, and just a few seconds to go before Fox News Live. Are they telling you anything over at the legislature on the possibility of Afghan refugees making their way to Guam, like as I speak?
That is so quiet. I'm not hearing anything on that. And in fact, just watching the national media, it looks like Texas of all places. It sounds like the first several thousands that they're taking out. So I just haven't heard anything, and at this point, Ray, it doesn't look like it.
It's chaos, babe. Chaos. I tell you what, Chris, you have a fantastic rest of the day. Appreciate your time and appreciate the access. I'll see you soon.
Yeah, you too, Ray. Take care.
888-8255. It's closing in on 8 o'clock in the morning. Fox News Live's here. KUSG, this is The Point.
In defense of the decision, I'm Lisa Lacera, Fox News. The White House doubling down on President Biden's plan to withdraw troops from Afghanistan, even as the security situation there devolves.
National Security Advisor Jake Sullivan told reporters maintaining a troop presence would not have sustained a stable and peaceful nation.
It would have taken a significant American troop presence, multiple times greater than what President Biden was handed to stop a Taliban onslaught.
2,500 troops were in Afghanistan when the president took office. Sullivan wouldn't say whether troops will stay beyond the end of the month, even if there are still Americans and allies there. At the White House, Rachel Sutherland, Fox News.
The president is expected to again address the situation in Afghanistan tomorrow. State Department spokesman Ned Price says the U.S. has completed the drawdown of diplomats from Kabul with only core people there now.
All remaining embassy staff will be assisting departures from Afghanistan, and the department is surging resources and consular affairs personnel to augment the relocation of American citizens and Afghan special immigrants.
Price says the U.S. is working around the clock to get Americans and vulnerable Afghans out of the country quickly. Texas Governor Greg Abbott has tested positive for COVID-19. The governor, who is fully vaccinated, is being treated with the antibody treatment from Regeneron and has no symptoms, as federal health officials say COVID booster shots may be available this fall.
Growing evidence suggests the third shot provides additional protection against the Delta variant, which is driving a surge in new infections and illness, primarily among the unvaccinated.
Fox's Jonathan Seri in Atlanta. Haiti's Civil Protection Agency says the number of dead from Saturday's earthquake is now more than 1,900. Wall Street, the Dow lost 282. The Nasdaq minus 137. The S&P off 31. America is listening to Fox News.
Business owners looking to expand, looking for an opportunity to give your business, looking to give your business a chance to succeed. There's a commercial space for rent at the DNA building in Agutya. This is a 10-story building with 24-hour security guards, maintenance, and custodial staff. A fitness center, close proximity to the Superior Court of Guam, Agutya Post Office, and several banks. Call DNA Incorporated for more information. Telephone 477-9053 or 9054 or email dnainc.guam@gmail.com.
Chili's is pairing up premium entrees with 2-in-1 entree selections starting at $19.99. Indulge in mouth-watering combos like the sirloin and ribs combo, the ribeye and jalapeno sausage combo, or the savory sirloin and ancho salmon combo. All served with delicious mashed potatoes. Dine in today and enjoy the best of both worlds flavor experience with Chili's 2-in-1 entree selections. Available for a limited time. Chili's on the second floor of the Tumont Sands Plaza. Chili's, savor the moment.
Parole granted for a man involved in the killing of a pair of siblings in Houston.
A shocking double murder more than 3 decades ago. Siblings gunned down. Their sister, Robin Kelly, says she lives with a nightmare every day.
33 years is a long time to live with this tragedy.
Police say on August 29, 1988, Ernest Leo Jenkins shot and killed her 26-year-old brother, Mark, and her 20-year-old sister, Cara, while they were working inside the family's pawn shop. Jenkins was put to death in 1996, with Robin, her parents, and grandmother becoming the first Texas family to witness the execution. According to police, his accomplice, Eugene Hart, stood there and watched and was sentenced to life. But Kelly was recently told by the parole board Hart was approved for parole.
It just brought everything back, all the pain, all the losses.
CJ Papa, Fox News.
California recall candidate and talk radio host Larry Elder has released details of his income, reporting more than $100,000 in the past year. Income details are required under state law to avoid conflicts of interest. The recall election is set for September 14th. More frozen shrimp is being recalled over salmonella concerns.
The FDA first warned the public about some frozen packaged shrimp possibly being contaminated back in June. Now it says even more of it is at risk, originating from Avanti Frozen Foods and sold under a variety of brand names, including 365, and packed and sold between November of last year and May of this year. The FDA's website lists which stores and brands the shrimp is labeled. It is specific to cooked, peeled, and deveined shrimp, but the FDA notes it's all out of caution as nobody has reported illness. Eben Brown, Fox News.
Archaeologists in the ancient Italian city of Pompeii say they found evidence of the Greek language in ancient Rome while excavating a tomb. An inscription inside suggests the tomb's owner helped organize performances in Greek in Pompeii. I'm Lisa Lacera, and this is Fox News.
Hafide, this is Severina. Here at APL, our expertise and extensive network can help you grow your business and reach out to more global markets. As a responsible carrier, APL is also committed to a sustainable future, whether it's protecting the environment or investing our efforts in giving back to the community. Our dedicated teams in Guam, Saipan, and on U.S. mainland are here to support you. Call 588-4651 or visit www.apl.com.
JV International Safety Equipment has it all for you. Fall protection, rain gear, traffic signs, speed bumps, custom signs and banners, PPEs, fire extinguishers, plus more. Check them out on Facebook at JV International Safety Equipment Company or visit their website, www.jvisec.com. JV International Safety Equipment, Guam's leader in occupational and environmental safety equipment. Call 688-9524. JV International Safety Equipment, located in Harmon Industrial Park.
Leah Dunca from Security Title here with a little information about trusts.
A trust is a legal entity capable of owning property. It can protect property from issues such as lawsuits or divorce and can be used to distribute property and avoid probate. Many trusts start as revocable but become irrevocable when the initial trustees die. Work with your estate planning attorney to see if a trust is a good fit for your family property. Call the professionals at Security Title. We are here to help.
Your local news is brought to you by Nambo Insurance. Skip the line, pay online. It's fast, it's easy, and it's secure. Visit Nambo.com for more information.
Off a day, it's 8:06. I'm Mona Silva Tyron with a look at your local news on the point. Well, police were investigating an auto pedestrian accident along Route 16 Army Drive by Fatima Road in Harmon. Earlier, they had said that all southbound lanes were closed and traffic rerouted. We are told by motorists who are in the area that traffic appears to be cleared. The situation will be the story will be updated as there has yet to be any information released on the investigation into that apparent auto pedestrian accident. In news from Antelope this morning, the child tax credit plan prepared by Rev Tax includes provisions for the implementation of the Advanced Child Tax Credit Program, has been approved by the Internal Revenue Services and the U.S. Treasury Department. A payment of the Advanced Child Tax Credit and reimbursement to the government of Guam for the child tax credit were authorized by the American Rescue Plan Act of 2021, which was signed into law by President Biden back in March. The IRS and the U.S. Treasury had approved a total of $93 million in initial funding for the advanced CTC. In addition to this, Rev Tax was approved to receive $300,000 to fund administrative expenses for the program. The governor says that the expanded child tax credit under the American Rescue Plan will put more money into the hands of families that even before this program will not only lift up low-income families, but will also provide needed relief to struggling middle-class families across the country. In addition to supporting their well-being and studies, the American Rescue Plan, through this program, has helps to ensure that our children receive the financial support they need to address the economic impacts of the pandemic. The governor says, in our implementation of this program, we continue to put our families first to ensure a prosperous island, which has been a pillar of our administration. Elsewhere in the news, there was another death related to coronavirus. It's the 144th COVID-19 related fatality. The 65-year-old man died at the Naval Hospital on Monday, was said to have had underlying health conditions that were complicated by COVID-19. Also, 63 new cases of COVID-19 were identified out of 1,080 tests performed on Monday, brings our island to 9,081 total cases. The CAR score this morning is at 9.5. We'll have more news right after this.
Go green, go solar, and save big with Nambo Insurance. When you power up your home with solar panels, Nambo Insurance will pay up to $350 toward your power bill. With Nambo, you can enjoy great savings while going green and helping to save Guam's environment. At Nambo, it pays to go green. Terms and conditions apply. Visit Nambo.com or call 477-9754 for details. Nambo Insurance, proudly serving Guam for over 50 years.
Public Health will continue their drive-through testing for COVID-19 today up at Teadsend. They open up this hour. They'll continue until noon today. That's at the old carnival grounds in Teadsend. There's 400 tests that will be offered on a first-come, first-served basis. If you're also looking to get a vaccination, the Southern Clinic open today from 9 to 12, and then also at the Micronesia Mall, they will be open from 11 to 6. Also taking place at the Micronesia Mall, they continue to distribute the PEBT cards. That's the food stamp cards for Department of Education students. The cards are being distributed at the center court from 11 to 6:30. You do have to make an appointment via Eventbrite. Meanwhile, there's some positive news for the SNAP benefit as Guam is set to get a bump in funding for the program. The island has already been approved for $27 million in supplemental nutritional programs for the rest of the fiscal year. This brings our total for the program to $130 million. Meanwhile, a couple charged in the child abuse of two teenage boys have been released on $5,000 bail. Each have been ordered to stay away from their victims. 37-year-old David Kanata and 29-year-old Sherry Nauta, both alleged to have tied up the boys for days, beating and starving them. The two boys are in the custody of the Child Protective Services. The couple is expected back in court on September 3rd. And those are your top stories here on The Point. Here's Ray with your weather.
I just kind of looked outside. It didn't look all that bad.
No.
Might be a nice day. Nice day.
Yeah.
Beach day?
For sure. Why not?
Let's. I'm just trying. In my head, I'm trying to figure out how to take that advice from you because I'm not sure that you're like my beach go-to guy. You'd be my bicycle go-to. Did you see there's a No, you don't read the papers. There's a conversation taking place
Bike
about
lanes.
Bike lanes, yeah. Where's it?
Please, we need bike lanes and not the sidewalk.
The sidewalk is for walk.
Sidewalk, not side bike.
Unless of course I'm on the bike, in which case we need to share the sidewalks with the runners and the walkers, et cetera, et cetera. Yeah, there's a story in here. I guess they got a hold of some of the bike guys on Guam, and they're once again clamoring for the opportunity. There was a time when they were redoing Route 4. Route 4 from like Mangilao all the way into Agana, and put a beautiful ribbon of blacktop out there. It was just great. It was pretty. Oh yeah. And they originally said that they, by law, I believe, were going to have bike paths on that particular roadway. Mm-hmm. But the mayors got with the DPW, and apparently DPW gave them the choice. We can have bike lanes or we can have a center lane. And all the mayors said, "Ooh, center lane, name it after me." And that's why, despite the fact that there is law, there's
the
a center
outermost
lane.
lane during a period of time of the day?
Yeah. So all the cyclists would be in one lane going in two directions, or would they only go in one
with the
direction?
flow of traffic, but you get the outermost lane during a certain time of day.
Is that done anywhere? Do we have evidence that maybe it's been done somewhere else and people have survived it? I don't know. Just get one of those Pelotons, Brett.
No, and I get that, and I get that Guam is not a bike-friendly place. And if you need to ride on the sidewalk, that's okay too. But yield to the walkers and the pedestrians.
That's why they give you a bell. Bring. No, you can buy a bell over at Hornet. It happened to me again
this weekend. I had to step off the sidewalk to allow for the bikers to pass.
Right. Let me just say we're a huge voting community, the biking community.
Oh yeah, whatever.
And I support your endeavor. But can you not try to run the runners and walkers?
Word.
8:13 in the morning. All right, mostly cloudy skies today. Scattered showers and isolated thunderstorms, and I could repeat that for about every time zone that we've got between here and Friday night. Mostly cloudy, scattered showers, isolated thunderstorms. Daytime highs in the upper 80s and overnight lows in the upper 70s. We've got sunset tonight at 6:40, not at 6:41, not at 6:39, 6:40. Hashtag tell the others. That's the news and weather together here on The Point.
A message from KFC's Colonel Sanders.
I spent months searching the world over for the very best Nashville hot chicken recipe. Then I found it in the last place I ever expected. Nashville. KFC's new Nashville hot chicken with a legendary blend of spicy and smoky flavor.
KFC's Nashville Hot is back on Guam for a limited time. Get yours today. It's finger licking good.
Looking to furnish your home? Furniture Kathy Style offers a wide variety of beautiful quality home furnishings at affordable prices. Find the best deals with mattresses starting at $169, sofas as low as $699, bed frames starting at $399, and dining sets starting at $499. Schedule a free design consultation and let us help you create a home you love. Follow us on social media, visit our website at FurnitureKathyStyle.com, or call us at 300-9590 for more information. Shop with us today.
I got you. Portions of the program brought to you by our friends over at American President Lines, APL, a global presence with a local home, and the team over at Take Care. And a reminder, they got all kinds of stuff going on. Let me get that flyer back up on the screen. But first, here's a picture of Pam Duvall's granddaughter, Millie.
So cute.
A.K.A. the Destroyer of Worlds. A.K.A. the Destroyer of Worlds. And you might be wondering what it is that I'm talking about. She is cute like my cat is cute. She's just absolutely gorgeous. She's my guess is that when she's asleep, it's like an angel. She's a little angel sleeping. But when she's awake, she reminds me of my cat in this regard. So the cat has found the top of the coffee table and wants it clear. So the cat will do one of these things. It will go up to, say, the remote control or my glasses or the keys to the car or something like that and just kind of push it off the table. Like, that was in my way. It needs
swiping.
to go. She's swiping. She's swiping. And that's kind of the destroyer of worlds that Mills is as well. 888-825-5888-TALK. All right, we're talking about Take Care, one of the other big sponsors of the Ray Gibson Show, and I appreciate them and giving them as much additional love as possible, up to and including this. They've got big get-togethers they're going to be having over at the Micronesia Mall the 21st, 28th, September 4th, and 25th, 11 to 5. Lots of stuff going on. Health screenings, wellness and fitness programs, descriptions of who their favorite gym partners are. And notice this, the Health Check Virgin Pulse. And I thought, what's that? What's a Virgin Pulse? And as it turns out, Dave's new.
It's
Brother
a real
Dave.
thing, yeah.
So it's like an app or something like that?
Yeah.
That keeps track of all of the classes that you're going to and whatever?
Gym membership.
You want details on that? Go find somebody over at Take Care today.
The Coconut Wireless is back. The Ray Gibson Show. Call now, 888-TALK. That's 888-8255.
So I don't know if it'll be a great beach day later. That's what I think I'm going to be going for, but it was a great beach day earlier today. A buddy of mine sent me this, and I can't resist putting it on the screen. I might send this into one of those places where they can mount it on like a picture frame or something like that. That's just beautiful. It's nice. A little bit of a paddle thing out looking at Tumon Bay, where you can make the sun coming out there.
Sweet glassy
water.
water.
Guam is great. 8:17 in the morning. Joe's on the line. Good morning, Joe.
Hey, morning, Ray.
Havalai.
Hey, how's this for your headlines for today, brother? I just, turning on the radio, and apparently K57 had the governor on
state-run media.
On that Patty show.
State-run.
No, basically she's talking about vaccines. So for all those, she's not trying to revert back to PCOR 2, but to how you say that let's say for example she threw it out there for the bars. And she's going to mirror what they're doing in the States where only vaccinated people can enter the establishment. So she's trying to see if they're going to end up doing such thing for all unvaccinated. You will not enter nor be allowed. So that's something you got to look into, my brother. And if possible, she can even do that such. If that's the case, I mean.
Oh, she can do whatever she wants to. Virtually unlimited powers granted her by the statutes that guide us in these public health emergencies that will never, ever, ever end. Can I give you? Let me give you a piece of BS that they put out every day over at the Joint Information Office. They send out a deal that will tell you how many people are vaccinated. 105,885 people as of a couple of days ago have been fully vaccinated by this. And then in today's newspaper, they actually give a percentage. They say it is we've a percentage of people that are vaccinated is 77.68 or some damn thing. And the point of all of that is what? Wait a second. We everybody did the Liber-8 deal. 80% of the adult population vaccinated, and they missed it by a couple of days, but they eventually got to it, and they did the victory lap with Josh Tenorio over at the field house. You can also find if you look hard enough on YouTube, there's a video that she has posted. This is me. This is my karma for giving Troy a hard time with his Tatsalon cough this morning. But anyway, so there's a video of her talking about how we hit this magic number of 80%. And what in the end of this did it mean, Joe? It didn't mean squat. It didn't mean anything. Right? So they've released some of the restrictions, and now we've got the numbers moving back up because we've got vaccinated people infecting unvaccinated people, and now we have to go backwards. Now, and they're going to punish the bars. The bars don't need any more barriers to entry for any of their customers.
Well, I'm only to give it a try if they go that route because I am one that's not vaccinated. But, brother, let me see. You want to, give me a hard time because I got a, bone to pick. So,
Dude, hey, listen, I can go to Payless, and if they shut me out of Payless because they want to do that with grocery stores as well, then I'll send somebody in there to go and buy my 6-pack, my 12-pack, or whatever, and I'll just sit at the beach. They can't tell me that I have to be vaccinated to sit at the beach and drink beer, right?
Oh, I know. I mean, it's a free world, brother. We got to, we live it up. So what can we do, right?
I hear you. Joe, I'll talk to you pretty soon. I appreciate your time, 20 after 8 o'clock in the morning. And look, I got a guy on the phone that might actually be able to do something about it. Frank Blas Jr. from the, what legislature? 36 Guam legislature. Buenos Havaderu.
Good morning, Ramon.
So, yeah, whatever. Just feel like, giving the bars a hard time because a karaoke bar somewhere apparently was responsible for a bunch of people getting sick. We knew about that last week. But apparently, it's the same cluster of people that also went to a big wedding that probably shouldn't have had the kind of numbers that it had given where we were on the calendar. And it was 24th of July they had that wedding, Mana? Yeah, and they didn't lift the restrictions on big gatherings until 29th, 30th. Of the month. So I don't know how that happened. But at any rate, let's say we don't need the bars in this town. We just shut those things down.
Oh, we don't need the bars. We don't need the, I guess, going into the hotel so that you can dine in restaurants. Pretty soon we're going to need not going to need a whole lot of stuff for people to save more.
We're just going to get bullied into compliance here. 77.69. They make a big deal about this. As of August 16th, 77.69% of Guam's eligible populations have received either both doses of the 2-dose series or the single-dose series of Johnson & Johnson. Who cares? What are we supposed to strive for something else? Another 80%? Is that where we need to go? Can somebody please ask what the scenario is going to be? What are the guidelines to end this public health emergency? If it's 100% vaccination, guess what? It ain't going to happen. So let's find something just in front of 100% vaccination that sees to the health care needs of this community in a logical, kind of common sense way, as opposed to, well, we think if we shut the bars down, if we think that we insist on a vaccine here, there, or the other, maybe that will slow down, flatten the curve.
You're mad, huh?
I'm mad. Oh, yeah. No, because they just look, the people that get screwed in all of these things are people in the business community, and that's easy to do because there's nobody outside of like you and Jimmy and Chris that have ever really run a business before. Everybody else thinks they understand what the real world is like, and they don't.
Well, and you know what? I did bring that up in my letter, which I'm hoping to get a response soon from the governor. And that, she did in one of her whereas clauses in her recent or her declaration is that she mentioned that we need to get to herd immunity, and I'm like, this is for an executive order that came out on the 6th of August. Despite that there was an announcement on the 29th of July that we had attained it. So did you just carry this over from another order, or is there a new percentage we need to hit for herd immunity? I'm waiting for that response. Nothing.
Under what scenario does the public health emergency end?
And you have to call the question. A lot of that is, and more and more, I guess, in talking to my colleagues, I'm really trying to muster up the support, so that we can finally say, hey, look, okay, you've gotten this far, anything more, maybe we should sit down and let's talk about this as a community. Okay, I've been involved in emergencies before, and granted, yes,
you were among the people that wrote the policy that drives the public health emergency for pandemics.
Yes, and so and what people say that, well, this is a totally different one. Well, yes, every disaster, every emergency is totally different from the last one or from the future ones that you're going to have. That said, though, is that there comes a point in time when, there are decisions that.
Well, this one was so different, Frank. It allowed for the governor's son-in-law and Guadalupe attorney to be able to start negotiating with hotels, even though that wasn't provided for in the pandemic plan.
And I tell you what, that's another conversation that I am awaiting now the Attorney General to answer to. I received a call last week from them, says you'll be getting a response, in the next few days, and so I'll probably thank you for reminding them. Probably give them a call after I talk to you and say, I thought you were going to provide me a response. Yeah, so that's from my perch. That's the best that I can do. And while this is going, I continue to press and ask my colleagues, for the support, so that we can start to move things. Ray, we've gotten, yes. What are we in now? About the 15th, 16th month of this of being ruled by executive order, and if you look at a lot of the executive orders that come out, there's really no urgency in it. But unfortunately, there doesn't appear to be a lot of planning in it either.
Well, I can't help but feel bad for everybody that said, "Okay, I'm going to do my part. I'm going to get myself. I'm going to add me to the number of the 80% of eligible people, adults that can get vaccinated." Add me to that list, because that's how we're going to turn the corner. That's how things are going to get better. But it doesn't look like they're getting any better. About the only good news that we have is the hospitalization numbers aren't going up.
Sure, and that could be for a myriad of reasons. Maybe one of them is we've been practicing for the most part, for the most people on our island, our safety protocols. We've washed our hands, we've kept our distance, we wore our masks. If we didn't have to go to a gathering, where we know there's going to be large amounts of people, we didn't go.
That's my favorite excuse. I'm sorry I can't meet up with you guys because it's there's so many people. I'm afraid of getting COVID.
Yes, and people are going to get, and just today, what's the headline news out of the nation? Governor Abbott contracting the virus while still being fully vaccinated. Then again, Ray, there's now CDC and FDA have thrown in another
booster shots.
I guess booster shots.
Yeah.
So let me ask you, Ray. So now that you're going to require that restaurants or bars, you're going to have to show proof of vaccination before you enter. But the vaccine that you got was back in December.
Yeah.
And CDC is saying that the booster shots are for those, and granted that they don't have that great of immune system, but the efficacy of the vaccine is it's no longer effective. So, in essence, they're not vaccinated, but they got a card saying they're vaccinated.
No, it's not going to be good enough. No, we're gonna. What was the date of your second shot or your first shot of Pfizer, and then 8 months after that, you're going to have to get a booster. How are we going to keep track of all that, Frank? How are we going to do that? And maybe we'll put a little chip in your underneath your skin, and so we can see. You just walk in and say, "Okay, you've been vaccinated and you've had your booster shots. You can go inside. Otherwise, you're unclean. Go eat with Ray Gibson and Jill Cruz outside."
And it's a sad point that we get there. And Ray, I think in our discussion with you and I, there's no way that we're going to discourage people if they decide they want to become vaccinated, then get the vaccine. My stance is here is before I want to get vaccinated, or other people that I know, they want to get vaccinated. They want to know more about what this is. They want to know. They want to be assured, to the fullest extent possible, which exists, that this vaccine that they're going to be putting into their body has gotten all the bells and the whistles, all the T's were crossed and the I's were dotted, and received the approvals necessary for every other vaccine or medication that goes before FDA. And that's what we're looking for.
I don't see the assurance yet, and I think the idea that the vaccine companies themselves are held liable, free of any kind of liability and potential lawsuit on what for some people are going to be negative outcomes. It seems to me that maybe I'd have a little bit more confidence if there was somebody that I could sue. And if the government is going to force me to take a vaccine, then I think the government of Guam should be liable for anything that happens to me down the road. 8:29 in the morning. One last thing before I let you run, now that you got my dunder up here, is what are we going to do about sidewalks and bicycles and bike lanes and things like that? I want to say it was your law back in the day that said no bicycles on sidewalks, and if you're on a bicycle, you have to wear a helmet.
I remember it was my legislation that said you got to wear a helmet on a bicycle. I don't remember whether I was the one who made I think Ben Pangilinan was the one who did the bicycle lanes. But
well, he did the bicycle lanes, and we thought it was going to be a big deal because at the time we knew that there was big construction going to be happening on Route 4, and that was supposed to be the first. Route 4 is going to have bike lanes, and then all of a sudden they were finished with Route 4, no bike lanes, but they did have a gleaming center lane, and apparently the mayors were able to trump Ben's law.
And, the law exists, and I'm hoping that, from what I understand, we've got an increase, a sizable increase in federal highway funds. And if I remember correctly, there is the provisions in the existing federal highway law that says if you're going to use this to be able to rehabilitate or build a new a road, a federal highway road, that it has to include the bike lanes. And that's an executive branch. That's
yeah, we're gonna have to wait. We're gonna have to wait until you run for office then. 8:30 in the morning, Darryl. I got to run. I'll talk to you pretty soon.
Okay, buddy.
All right. Talk to you. 888-825-5888-TALK is the telephone number. 831. Got Jane D on the line. We'll get with her before too much longer. And who else? Oh, Frenchie. Frenchie's on the line. We'll speak with Frenchie. And as soon as we clear up a couple of other lines, Dave Duvall, do me a favor. Is it Dave or Dan? I think it's Dan. Go ahead and call in now. Chief Warrant Officer for Dan Duvall. And he's got stories to tell about working with translators, et cetera, in Afghanistan, and steps that he has taken back in the day to help get these guys their SIVs so that they can come to America, and concerns that he has in this new debacle that Biden Harris administration has affected out in that part of the world. It's 8:31 in the morning. Mona Silva Tyrant's got her last look at news next.
Looking for a seamless medical trip to Manila? St. Luke's Medical Center's Pacific Islands Medical Referral Package offers a convenient end-to-end medical travel service to St. Luke's Global City. With the package, they also provide assistance in the processing of your air travel requirements, airport to hospital transportation, and hospital room upgrades, all for free. To learn more, call Phil MD at 671-637-5433 or visit their office in Tumuning across the Baltej. At St. Luke's, we love life.
Diving and seeing our coral reef full of life.
I really love hiking the trails.
I really love going to the beach. The sunsets are amazing.
Your island needs you. Help preserve what makes our island home. Stop those who threaten our wildlife, plants, and environment. Install the free Toka app and report poaching, littering, burning, and other environmental crimes. Call 864-TOKA or install the free Toka app today. This public service announcement is brought to you by the Department of Agriculture, UOGC Grant, and Choice Broadcasting.
Studio time, 8:32. Ray Gibson Show until it's not going to be anymore. That'll be about 10 o'clock. Lots of ground to cover. Juan Carlos Benitez coming in the next hour and waiting on some guidance from either the governor's office or the Joint Region Marianas or somebody on rumors floating around about meetings that took place at Anderson Air Force Base as preparations are made for the possibility of Afghan refugees coming for safe haven here on Guam. Details on that as the story develops. In the meantime, speaking of stories that have already developed, here's Mona Silva Tyrant.
Well, from Guadalupe this morning, the child tax credit plan's been approved by the IRS and the U.S. Treasury Department. That means payments can be made for the advanced child tax credit and reimbursements for the government of Guam for costs they've already incurred. The American Rescue Plan covers that, and Reventax is said to be working on the first of the payments as soon as possible. There was another COVID-related death that was recorded. It's the 144th. It was a 65-year-old man who died at Naval Hospital. The Joint Information Center did say that he had underlying health conditions that were complicated by the virus. And 63 new cases of the coronavirus out of 1,080 people who were tested. That brings our total now to 9,081. The CAR score this morning is at 9.5. And police were investigating an auto pedestrian accident that was reported about 6:30 this morning in Harmon. Few details were released. Traffic is said to have cleared up in that area, though. And those are your top stories here on The Point.
Thank you very much. 8:34 in the morning. And that's it for Mona Silva Tyrant. She's going to be taking off. We got your phone calls and more on the other side of these.
Hafade, this is Congressman St. Nicholas. Your congressional office would like to remind you that pandemic unemployment assistance is set to expire on September 6th of this year. We encourage the people of Guam to seek out active employment as much as possible, as jobs continue to remain limited, and we want to prevent hardship for our people at the conclusion of the PUA program. Thank you, and see to us, Mahase.
This ad was paid for with official funds from the office of Congressman Michael F.Q. San Nicolas.
As we get back to business, Docomo Pacific is ready to keep you connected. Introducing Business Bundles Plus. Build a customized bundle with the right internet, mobile, TV, and phone plan for your business. Pay for exactly what you need and nothing you don't. And the more services you add, the more you save. Plus, you can rely on Docomo Pacific's fastest, most reliable network and 24/7 customer support. So build your own bundle and save today with Business Bundles Plus. Call 671-688-2677. Docomo Pacific Business. Work better together.
8:35 in the morning, 888-825-5888-TALK. The meme machine is working, but it's also a great way to communicate with us here at the radio station. Got a note from somebody says, Ray, call Simon, vax mandate for utilities. And I'm like, dude, what have you heard? And then I figured, okay, never mind. I just beep Simon and see what he's got to say. Now, word I got from Simon on this, is there anything in vax mandates at the utilities? He says, not yet. Management proposing a policy for our review. They're leaning towards mandatory. About 80% vax in both the GPA and GWA. We'll know more next week and see how that plays out there. Although there's seems to be a lively conversation now on Facebook where they're talking about, in Facebook and other WhatsApps that I'm a party to, where they're talking about kind of an island-wide government walkout, if you will. And certainly unvaccinated members going to go, yeah, you're going to tell me I can't come to work? Well, gee, let's see what things are like in the office when I don't come to work. Let's go see what it's like when I'm a teacher and I don't go to teach, and 20% of the other teachers in the school system decide that they're not going to go in there as well. Are you gonna fire all of us? Are you gonna terminate all of us? Is there going to be Civil Service Commission coming after all of us? More on that in a couple of minutes. In the meantime, 8:36. Real quick update on the pig and derby, pig hunting derby that's coming up. Jane Dia from the Department of Agriculture on the line. Good morning, Jane.
Hi, good morning. Half a day, Ray. Thank you so much for taking my call.
No problem.
I just wanted to do a reminder that the filter fork hunt is this Saturday, August 21st, 5 a.m. to check out. But our safety briefing is this Friday, August 20th, from 6 to 7 p.m. and 7 to 8 p.m. We are definitely, would like to have more hunters out there, and we're going to be announcing the winners on August 24th, which is next Tuesday, at the Farmers Co-op.
Gotcha. Now, for more information, what number?
Please, you can email me at jane.dia@doag.guam.gov, and my number is 735-3981.
Are you excited about this weekend?
Yes, I mean, we're going to have a little rain, but we're still excited, and we're, going to be rooting for our favorite hunters.
All right. We'll see what we can do about the winners of this after the weekend. Make sure that you get the numbers to me, all right?
Yes. Have a great week.
I will, Jane. I'll talk to you pretty soon. 8:38 in the morning. 888-825-5888. TALK is the telephone number. And Guam Daily Post editorial today. Yesterday, Jerry Roberts in the work zone got the coveted blue star from Bob Klitsky on Tall Tales. I'm going to make a prediction that this afternoon on Tall Tales, Peter Tureen, Frenchie, is going to get the big award and the big nod for his editorial contribution in today's Guam Daily Post. Good morning, Frenchie.
Good morning, Ray. I was very pleasantly surprised by the fluency of your French this morning. The fluency of your French. Charcuterie. Wow.
Well, the Army Corps of Engineers, of course, coming in and talking about a charrette that they want to put together to help guide the government of Guam in the construction of this health campus. I was pleasantly surprised. It's not very often that somebody ever quotes Descartes.
Well, it's because it's not taught in U.S. schools.
It's been a while, yeah.
It's been a while. Yeah. So people, but it's So I hope you enjoy the letter. It was, I guess.
Well, your first sentence had me. After finishing Dr. Friedman's condescending, value-signaling, self-indulging lecture to the editor on August 13, my first reaction was one of dread and profound malaise. Mine was kind of the opposite. It was somewhere in between amused and annoyed, which is where I consistently find myself in 2021.
Yeah. Well, this is something that's happening all over the world, unfortunately. What you were talking about some of the government employees thinking about a walkout, it's exactly what's happening in Europe right now with those mandates and those talking about health passport and everything. You start seeing a hospital going on strikes, fire stations and all those places, and even schools, because people, even people that have been vaccinated do not want to be told by the government what to do. It is between you and your doctor, and the government doesn't need to know what your health status is, and people understand very clearly the slippery slope that it is to start pushing those things. And basically, while we do not have a national ID in the United States, those passports, those health passports, will be a lot worse than a national ID. It will be knowing exactly where you are at any time, any place, and what is your medical status. And that is not something we want to go. This is what they do in China. We don't want to go there. We don't want to have social brownie points because we do certain things well, and being punished when we don't do something the government think is not well. When you put
the government, I'll make it very clear, and I think this is something that needs to be said in a very plain way. The government is not our God. The government is not my religion, and I am free to make my own choices and do as I please. And everybody will know that I'm unvaccinated for at least the time being, and you can choose to stay away from me or not. Apparently, all of my vaccinated friends don't have a problem hanging out with me. Unvaccinated friends don't seem to have a problem hanging out with me, where I think of all of us, comfortable with the risk that we're going to be one of the 99.6% of the population that will survive COVID-19.
Yeah.
I'm not sure if I'll survive Biden. That's of more concern to me than COVID-19.
Especially with all the CRT they're pushing right now. Now, there is a group called Judicial Watch, which is kind of the people that have taken the flame from what used to be the ACLU before they became completely woke. And Judicial Watch has uncovered that the Department of Defense, the DOJ, are spying on our own troops to see what they think.
Yes.
So where are we going with this? On one way, they have mandates to get vaccinated, mandates to show a pass, like the Germans were asking during the occupation of Europe. You need an Ausweis now to go to grocery shopping.
That's right.
This is you remember Colonel Klink and Sergeant Schultz?
I know nothing.
You know nothing. Well, you need an Ausweis to go to Palace, for crying out loud.
Well, they're going to make it. So what we're going to have is we're going to have. I've got one or two people that are vaccinated that like me, and I just give them my shopping list, and you go in there, and if they tell me I can't drink at the bar, I'll find a beach. I mean, I remember when the bars were closed, I'd go to the store and I'd get a 6-pack or whatever, and then just go and find someplace to enjoy being outside and the sunset. So I mean, that ain't going to be any skin off my teeth. The people that it's going to impact again are the bar owners, the people that rent them those bar facilities, their suppliers, their wholesalers, their retailers, the employees of the bars. They're the ones that are going to be having a hard time with everything, and the people that go in and entertain over at the bars. That's those are the people that are going to be impacted by all of this. Frankly, I've gotten my life down to a cozy minimum of interaction and activity with other people, and I'm sure other folks do as well. So you tell me I can't go to the Red Ball because I'm not vaccinated? Oh well, guess I'm missing it again this year. 8:44 in the morning. Frenchie, I wish you good luck. I know that there's a lot of competition for the Blue Star, but I'm pretty sure you're going to get it today.
Well, we'll see. Anyway, it was good to see that Jerry got it. I think he had a very nice column, and he made very good points. So it's very interesting.
I got
okay,
you.
You have a good day, and please do impress the ladies at the beach with your French.
Thank you. Thank you too much. I'll talk to you soon. It's 8:44 in the morning. 888-8255 is the telephone number. Yeah, there's where we are. Here we got the Kabul in Afghanistan is in tatters. It's just crumbling to pieces. And so what have we got? It's members of our military, many of whom seem to be occupied in critical race theory studies and gender equality. Guys, can we get back to the day job? Can we get back to doing the day job here? Because I got a feeling that many among our list of enemies are going to feel rather emboldened here, and I think many of our allies are going to feel a little bit twitchy about the state of the nation right now. 8:45 in the morning. As I mentioned, there's a conversation that is taking place in lots of places. Your WhatsApps and your social media message boards and even Facebook itself. Sandra Sayal, as she was running as a candidate for the legislature into the 36th Guam legislature, on the line right now. And I don't want to say it's your brainchild, but you're the one that had the temerity to actually create a post that said so in social media. Good morning, Sandra.
Good morning, Ray. Good morning, Mildred Cruz.
So
and the Plank family.
It's great to have you online, and she's normally online with us, kind of watching behind the scenes. But you seem to be taking a very, very active role here in promoting the idea that on what is it, August 30th?
Yes, sir. August 30th at 8 a.m. at Adelup.
8 a.m. at Adelup. And so, what is it that you were asking of the GovGuam employees to do?
Actually, I'm not asking. I've been receiving hundreds of calls. My phone's been blowing up. And, these people are asking for help. They don't know what to do. And there's several people in several of the agencies that want help. There was one group I was in. They are actually getting with a lawyer next week. And I'm going to get with the Attorney General. But, we can't come up with if we can't resolve this, we're going to do a walkout. This is gone. This is beyond ridiculous. How can they set a mandate on the people of our island? This is a experimental vaccine. These people don't want to put this in their body, and they don't want to do the weekly testing. They shouldn't be subjected to doing that.
I agree. Now, you'll recall the last executive order that the governor passed along that had the idea of the vaccine mandate, and they took great pains to make legal citations of court cases that granted the governor the power to mandate this vaccination over the employees of the executive branch of the government of Guam, and it's spreading like a cold in the family. We got the judiciary that says 80%. Regardless of what numbers they've got there, they're going to be going for 100% vaccination of their employees, like they grow on trees. And you heard what I said about Simon Sanchez. The utilities are at 80% right now. They've got a proposal coming in from management of the utilities. It looks like they are going to be proposing a vaccine mandate there as well, as if utility employees grew on trees, as if these people, having served the island of Guam in various capacities over decades, for many of them, can just be replaced by putting an ad in a newspaper.
Okay, there are some positions that you just can't replace. Sorry, I'm a little upset.
Teachers, as an example, teachers. We've been trying to reach out to Robert Koss from the Federation of Teachers over the last couple of days. I want to find out what it is that they're going to be doing. It seems like they've made the noise like, listen, these are collective bargaining agreements that we have with departments and agencies for these specific personnel. You cannot change the terms of their employment without having another collective bargaining arrangement in front of you. But I haven't heard or seen anything that makes it a final decree from the unions that their employees are in fact protected by the Federation of Teachers.
Yes, some of the GovGuam employees are waiting to hear back from GFT, and there was another thing that went out for DOC. They're waiting on
when?
The
Let's go, Tadnik. Come on. How long does it take you to put this stuff together? They're doing the same thing in Hawaii, and it just seems to me that that's one of the things you pay for. I'm not a big union guy by any stretch. Anybody knows my background knows that. I'm not big on unions, but if you're charging people and claiming that you are going to protect them when their jobs are threatened and you're not doing it, then guess what? Give them their dues back. Great. We got a newspaper that says who's got a birthday today. Screw that. Give them their money back.
The last I heard, we lived in a free country, and by mandating people to take these vaccines, how free are we?
Well, they said, but you have to stop for stop signs, and you've got to buckle your seatbelt. Those are mandatory. Like it's the same thing.
That's safety, dude.
Stupid.
That's safety, but to mandate experimental vaccine that where you could still get sick and still spread the virus. This mandate is not going to help unemployment. It's not going to help our businesses if you're going to restrict people from patronizing.
Where do we go? So you said August the 30th. Is there going to be a protest at 8 o'clock in the morning at the governor's office?
Yes, sir. And I've received a lot of support on Facebook, Messenger, and everything that they'll be there. So let's see, because it's time for our people to stand up.
Look, having been here before, just going to remind you about the protests and the demonstrations that we had last year. And a lot of people will say, "I support you, Sandra. I support what you're standing for." But no, ain't going to bother to join you at the protest or the demonstration. So I'm just saying, babe, keep your expectations low.
If these guys are, really scared and they're really concerned and they don't want to do this, they would stand up and fight for the right.
I agree. I agree. They wouldn't do it for anybody else, and now that's the interesting thing. When we were doing it, it was trying to stand up for the businesses and people that were otherwise put out. Bars and restaurants certainly were a big part of that. Saying if they're doing this now for these guys, just wait till they come for you, and that's what they're doing. They're coming for you. They want to get you vaccinated. They want to make sure that you toe the company line and get your shots. You should have stood up with the bars and restaurants last year with Tom Pinehoff and those guys. Should have stood up with those guys, but no, it's okay. I'm a government of Guam employee. I'm still getting my paycheck. Everything's going to be all right until it's not all right anymore. And your boss is telling you have to get a vaccine.
We the people can stop this. I mean, we could quit taking the BS being dished out to us. We just got to make a stand.
Well, there we go.
Help.
There we go. Hey, I got to let you know, 8:52 in the morning for details. Look for Sandra Rages on Facebook.
Okay, have a good day, guys.
I will. I'll talk to you pretty soon. 888-8255. I know all the usual suspects are going to be there, but 8 o'clock in the morning, huh? Just don't know about that because I got to work. That's a working day, right?
Yeah.
Send somebody down there with short shorts.
Will do.
And my red kerchief. Marcus Fong is online. Marcus Fong from my Chili's guy and my Subway guy. How you doing there, buddy?
Morning, Ray. Doing well. Yourself?
Never better. Never better. What now? Were you calling to remark about Real Joe getting the pastrami yesterday, or me getting my BMT with the new bread?
How did you like it?
Loved it. Oh, my God. I thought I was going to make, I'm a big 9-grain honey oat guy. So when the dude told me that we've switched things up a little bit, I was kind of like, okay, well, what's the next best thing? As it turns out, it's you've got a multi-grain over at Subway that you know what? I like it just as much. And it makes it didn't hurt the taste of that BMT at all.
Absolutely. Multi-grain is more than 9 grains. So that's the more the better, right?
Yeah. I haven't had the artisan Italian yet.
That's pretty good as well. I'll tell you that.
Gotcha. Anyway, what else you up to?
Well, I was told to call and tell you about National Fajita Day and invite you to come down.
We're talking now different restaurant. Chili's has got National Fajita Day that is going on today, all day, right?
All day today, yep.
Hold on a second. I think I've got a graphic of that. Yeah, it's amazing how we switch gears here on the program. We can go from talking about all kinds of things, COVID-19 and lockdowns and protests and things like that. But yeah, we can switch off in the other direction. Basically, it's a Fajita Day over at Chili's. I didn't realize that it was a national kind of event.
Oh yeah, absolutely. National Fajita Day has been big for Chili's and for a lot of the restaurants. So. For us, we love to celebrate it. It's one of our core menu items.
Have been eating it since the old store. It's always been one of my favorite kind of go-to deals. But in this case, what's the big special for fajitas today over at Chili's?
So today, it's buy any fajita and then get the second one half off.
Buy a fajita, second one half off. Sounds like a great date opportunity.
Bring a friend. You've been to Chili's, so when you sit in there and the table next to you orders a fajita and then it comes out in that nice sizzling plate. And
I love that.
Yeah, immediately. That's the one I'll have.
Well, the other part of that is the fun of being able to put together the fajita. There's so many different additions besides just the meat. Now, this is for all of them because you got different versions of the fajitas that come out in different ways to build them, right?
Right, absolutely. So we've got the personal one. If you want it just for yourself, if you were feeling a little bit more hungry, you can get the triple or the trio. get multiple meats on them, and then, whatever toppings you want to put on, you like, don't like, up to you.
All right. And now, have we paired the fajita with any special drinks from the bar?
Everything pairs well with the Presidente.
You know what? I've heard that from a lot of people. That's a habit-forming drink. I've never seen anybody drink just one, and today's a great day to find out more about that. Sizzle and celebrate National Fajita Day at Chili's. You get a buy one, get another fajita for half off, but it's only going to be today, so if you miss it today, it's not like you can go in tomorrow.
Nope, only today, so you and Joe have to come down today, and that's your date.
Ooh. Date, Joe?
You're locking eyes
Don't
with me now.
don't look at me in the eyes. 8:56. Marcus, I got to let you run. I'll talk to you pretty soon. We'll see you down at Chili's for National Fajita Day. And just FYI, if you've already got some lunch plans today, they've always got the pastrami that's waiting for you. Limited time only on that over at the Subway stores. And have an icy cold Coca-Cola or a Sprite with that, just like I did.
Perfect.
Right on. I'll talk to you, and just a note, it was the first time that I'd ever gone to the new Chili's spot, the new Subway spot that you've got over at GPO.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely loved it. Absolutely loved it. Yeah. There's hardly a line there. You got good people in there. The only thing is they didn't have yellow baked chips yesterday.
We're working on it. There's a supply chain issue on a couple of other things, but we'll get it to you.
All right, buddy. I'll talk to you soon. 857 888.
Have a good one.
I will. I'm going to have a terrific day. 888-825-5888 Dan, if you're listening, now would be a good time to call as we've managed to clear off all of the lines here this morning. Charlie Hermosa was holding to talk about things, events that are going on in Kabul now as we speak. Ponder this. Ponder this. You hear about these people, critical race theory, that are always talking about just how awful America is. How terrible is the United States of America? Talking about what they did to the Indians and what they've done to slavery and all of these terrible, terrible things that are deep into the past of the United States of America. What an awful country that we live in. There's a guy, you might have seen the video, whose body is flapping in the wind at 30,000 feet as he got stuck in the well. There's another video I was looking at of people that were clinging to a transport plane on the tarmac, like they could ride it on the outside to wherever the destination was. So desperate to get out of Afghanistan, so desperate to get out of Kabul. Now, it might have been, listen, anywhere you take me is going to be great, but I guarantee all of them were holding out hope that there was the possibility that they might find themselves in the bosom of the arms of the last bastion of freedom and democracy, which is the United States of America. There are people that for whom falling from 1,000 feet up in the sky was a better alternative to sitting on the ground. A couple of minutes away from the top of the hour, as I said, Juan Carlos Benitez coming up in the next hour. My very close friend, personal friend, Charlie Hermosa is on the line. Buenas, Charlie. How you doing?
Good morning, Ray. How are you?
I'm okay. As I said, just interesting to think about how Americans view the United States of America versus how other people desperate for freedom and hungry for democracy are willing to put their lives on the line to fly on the outside of an airplane, maybe for a chance at getting to the United States.
No, absolutely, and it's really heartbreaking, Ray, because I was there in October 2001, part of the first wave.
Oh, wow.
We went in with General Mattis. And I never expected that this was our exit strategy, if you want to call it a strategy at all, right? It's almost like in the dark night, you shut out the lights, cut out the power, and then you leave. That's not an exit strategy. But the other thing that I wanted to mention was when we first came in, our mission was to take over the Kandahar airfield and the embassy in Kabul, which we did.
Yeah.
And within the embassy, in the little pocket in the office, there was the last U.S. flag that was flown when we retrograded the last time in the early 80s.
Wow.
And there was a note inside from a staff sergeant. He was the staff NCO there, and he said his name. He said this is the date, the time, and this beloved flag was flown on this date. We are leaving today. Whoever finds this flag, take this and take it with pride and so forth. And we did it because it was an emergency to leave, but it's really heartbreaking to see the people there. I mean, we went in, we went into the villages and we asked them for their help. And, we technically promised them that we wouldn't just, we weren't there just to get what we want and leave. And so it's, these mornings are very heartbreaking for me to read the news because it's not right what we did.
Don't disagree, and obviously whoever was sitting in the White House at the time is going to take some degree of responsibility. I will admit to being disappointed in that Joe Biden said the buck stops here, but it's really the Afghan people's fault for folding as quickly as they did in the face of the Taliban.
No, absolutely. But I think there was a little bit more there as well. Politics definitely plays a huge role. I mean, the government collapsed probably quicker than they expected. But I think that we should have had a little bit more insight as far as how fast this thing was going to happen, right? Because we initially thought there was going to be a wave of plans to get the folks, the Afghanis that had helped us out, the interpreters to bring them out. But now it's kind of like
there were plans. Now, Charlie, there were plans. You heard me interview a guy named Mark Zeller, and he's all over Twitter in the last 48 hours. But Mark Zeller was on the air with me talking about, and this is a couple of months back, about plans that they needed to have put in place and use the Guam option, literally use the Guam option to get people out, put them someplace safe, out of harm's way, someplace where the population, it would have been a fairly large population, could have been controlled, and so that people could have gotten vetted for these SIVs, these special visas. That many of them qualified for. But that didn't happen. As was equated to me this morning, Biden did it the hardest way possible. And now people are losing their lives as a result of that. And unfortunately, we don't necessarily have good eyes on the ground in Afghanistan to see what is happening now that the Taliban has taken over. One of the things and one of the images that we're seeing for sure is the idea that these guys are they're street scenes, and they say it doesn't look all that different than the street scene last week in Kabul, except there's no women out. They're largely staying indoors now because they don't know what the changes are going to be under what is going to be, I'm sure, Sharia law. 9:02 in the morning. Listen, I'm going to let you run because I got Fox News playing, and I know you got to get ready for Rotary tomorrow.
Yes, absolutely. Thank you so much, Ray.
I'll talk to you pretty soon, Charlie. A couple of minutes after 9 o'clock in the morning. Got this from a friend of mine talking about restrictions, and the word is she's going to put restrictions back after her fundraiser tonight over at the Sheraton. We'll see how that plays out. We'll join Fox News Live already in progress. Juan Carlos Benitez on the way.
Yes.
The Fox News Rundown is a weekday morning podcast that dives deep into the major and controversial stories of the day. Hosted by the anchors of Fox News Radio. Subscribe now to hear a perspective of news you won't find anywhere else. Listen now by going to foxnewspodcasts.com.
Current and former lawyers and law enforcement are lobbying President Biden to push forward on criminal justice reform.
The group, which also includes past and present attorneys general and federal prosecutors, call for a presidential task force on 21st century prosecution by year's end. In the joint letter, inequity in the number of those jailed based on racial, ethnic, and class disparities are cited. They referenced recent national protests they say show that the American people have demanded change. In asking the Biden-Harris administration to chart a new path, the dozens of officials also drafted the letter to Attorney General Merrick Garland and the president's domestic policy assistant, Susan Rice. Gernal Scott, Fox News.
Many corporations have put vaccine mandates in place before workers can head back to the office.
Nearly a quarter of the 30 companies in the Dow Jones Industrials are now mandating vaccines for their workers. Barron says Walt Disney, Salesforce, Walgreens, Walmart, Microsoft, Cisco Systems, and others are now mandating vaccination for some or all employees in their offices. Disney has one of the broadest mandates requiring vaccinations by the end of September. Goldman Sachs and Apple are not mandating vaccines, but are requesting employees disclose whether they've been vaccinated. Ginny Cosola, Fox News.
Americans cut back on their spending last month as the surge in COVID-19 cases kept people away from stores. Retail sales fell a seasonal adjusted 1.1% in July from the month before, according to the Commerce Department. It was a much larger drop than the 0.3% decline Wall Street analysts had expected. And on Wall Street, all the major indexes closed lower. The Dow lost 282 points, the NASDAQ minus 137, the S&P off 31. I'm Lisa Lacera, and this is Fox News.
Chili's is pairing up premium entrees with 2-in-1 entree selections starting at $19.99. Indulge in mouth-watering combos like the sirloin and ribs combo, the ribeye and jalapeno sausage combo, or the savory sirloin and Rancho Salmon Combo, all served with delicious mashed potatoes. Dine in today and enjoy the best of both worlds flavor experience with Chili's 2-in-1 entree selections. Available for a limited time. Chili's on the second floor of the Tumont Sands Plaza. Chili's, savor the moment.
Everyone has a busy schedule these days, and sometimes we forget to schedule our routine dental checkup and cleaning. Don't neglect your dental health. Schedule one today with Dr. Robert Yang and his Smile team, conveniently located at the East West Business Center on Marine Drive, Upper Tumont. Call us today at 647-8702 or 3. Again, that's 647-8702 or 647-8703. We make smiles happen.
Bargain Tactical, Guam's largest firearms dealer and sports shooting store, offering the best selection on island. You'll find everything you need for your next trip to the range. Ammo, target, stands, hearing and eye protection. A full-time armorer is ready to help with repairs, maintenance, and builds. Plus, you'll find a large selection of home defense accessories, including tasers, stun guns, pepper spray, batons, and home security devices. Pellet, BB, and airsoft guns in stock now for pest control and training. Tactical Gear Guam, Route 16, Army Drive in Harmon. Follow them on Facebook and Instagram at Bargain Tactical 671 or online, BargainTacticalGuam.com. Bargain Tactical. You defend, we support.
That's you, Ray.
Where? What's me?
APL.
APL, American President Lines, a global presence with a local home.
News to fill your mind. Talk to get it out. The Ray Gibson Show.
6 after 9 o'clock in the morning. Juan Carlos Benitez in the studio. We'll join him and get some thoughts on what's happening in Washington, D.C., besides the obvious chaos with the fall of Afghanistan and my comments on that, as well as his comments on it as we make our way through this particular Wednesday morning. A pleasure to bring to the phone before we get to Juan, Chief Warrant Officer 4 Dan Duvall on the line, and I could read the email, the WhatsApp that he sent me yesterday, but it basically comes down to Dan has done the job of taking an interpreter and getting them everything they needed to be vetted through the SIV program, and now safely in the United States of America. But what about everybody else? Welcome to the program, Dan.
Thank you, Ray. Good morning.
Well, good morning. I appreciate you calling. I appreciate you tuning in and being a part of the show here today. As I say, we watch what's happening in Afghanistan and the incredible drama around the airport and the airplanes and the exasperation and desperation of thousands of Afghanis that are trying to get themselves out of the country.
Yes, sir. There are a lot of people that are worried about their futures and the way that they and their families will be treated. But the Taliban, they're verbally striking a new tone, but it's hard to say whether or not they're going to toe the line that they're talking about.
Well, consider them pathological liars. I'm don't necessarily think. Frankly, I think there are people in Washington, D.C. that are guilty of the same thing. So I don't know exactly who to trust. The people that I trust the most are folks that have worn the uniform and, like yourself, have taken steps to find interpreters valuable as assets on the ground, but certainly valuable as human beings, and gotten them the SIVs so that they could get to the States. Tell me about that process.
Okay. Basically, when our SFAT team was in Afghanistan, I think it was about a month before we left, we started screening our interpreters to see whether or not they qualified. And based on the way we interpreted the regulations at that time, and they could have changed from that time till now, that was in 2013, they had to have put their lives at risk in support of U.S. forces to get a U.S. SIV application approved. So my personal interpreter, he had taken fire while working with a team previous to ours. They were dismounted on a patrol convoy, and they took some small arms fire. He was not hit, but they considered that adequate, and the previous unit commander that he was assigned to had written a letter of reference that documented that he came under fire. So his was an easy case to prove. And he's actually a person that I feel very comfortable with recommending for immigration into the States. So he's currently living in the States, and he has a wife. He brought his wife with him, and they have 2 kids now. So we still communicate on Facebook occasionally. And I'm very happy that they're doing well and that they're safe.
Now, you talk about this vetting process, and as I've heard from Mark Zeller, among the big proponents of the Guam option, who we have interviewed in the past, he says, these SIVs are not easy to get, and as you point out, here's somebody had to get chased around at the other end, at the business end of a gun, in order to really be qualified for these SIV programs. Imagine how much more difficult it is for people that were just as helpful, just as utilitarian for our armed forces that did not get chased around by with Taliban gunslingers.
That's correct. So we had a pool of about 10 interpreters, and I think, I don't remember if we had one other person that qualified, but most of them did not qualify. And so with the current situation, I had a request about 2 weeks ago from a family member who lives in the States for one of my counterparts that was still in Afghanistan to provide a reference letter.
Mm-hmm.
And they were worried for his life. They weren't sure because the Taliban was rapidly advancing through Afghanistan. And he was somebody that I did feel comfortable with. And I knew him pretty well. We were meeting 3, 4, 5 times a week for 1 to maybe up to 3 hours at a time. And even though we were communicating through an interpreter, we covered a lot of ground. And like later on in my stay there, that's when I found out he had family living in the States, because he protected that information pretty well. But when I found out, then it led to me offering a phone call on my dime to his family, and he accepted. And I was only on the phone about a minute. He was on the phone for like 10 or 15 minutes. And so it kind of changed the aspect of our relationship. So he opened up a lot more after that. And so I learned more about him. And so I was kind of surprised. The daughter, who's in Texas, she was able to find me because they knew I owned a business here in Guam. So they started calling similar types of businesses until they found me. So I guess they probably called it. And she was so thankful because they didn't know the name of the business, right? But they knew what kind of business it was. And so it was really surprising to me. But at the same time, I'm glad they called, and I was able to write a reference letter. And I believe he had an SIV applicant number already.
Mm.
So I was able to put that in my reference letter, and he was better prepared than another interpreter that I asked him if he wanted a reference letter, and he said yes. He felt like him and his family were at risk, and so that was like the day before yesterday when I texted him, and I didn't want to forget about him, and because he was always cordial, friendly. He's reserved.
I guarantee there's 1,000 guys like you that would love right now to be able to do things for him. But one of the things that you pointed out in the WhatsApp that you sent to me is that you get a lot of guys. Number one, they've got basically the shirt off their back, may not have any other supporting documents, and you don't necessarily want to be walking around Kabul right now with any documents that said you had anything to do with the American military adventure over the last 20 years in Afghanistan. I think that's the kind of thing that you'd want to hide right now. So how do we, what's the workaround for any of these interpreters that might still be left on the ground? And they're reporting on SkyNews.com that the Taliban says that, everything will be forgiven. We'll pardon these guys, and women can go to school, and you don't have to wear your burqa anymore.
I hope they hold true to what they're saying. But I think down in the southern provinces, they killed some. This is from the news. I haven't verified it myself, but I guess some of the provincial leaders were killed, and there was other people that were executed. I've heard a few stories like that, and if their lives are at risk, we need to do our best to get the ones out that are not going to be a threat to us. So part of my job was screening the interpreters also. So I scheduled appointments, and we did. I took them to an office at Kandahar Airfield, and they went through a counterintelligence screening and a PCAS, which is similar to a lie detector. And there's a few other steps that I don't really want to go into here that identified whether or not, there were potential threats to us, since they were actually living with us, and we were embedded with the Afghan forces. So,
well, I mean, we'll fast forward to where we are today, Dan, and there is the possibility that there could be a plane load or two of them coming out to get safe haven here on Guam that I know of. I don't know that anybody was doing any screening whatsoever at the airport in Kabul, and it could be just a whole bunch of people with all kinds of different bona fides coming out here. How are what are the steps going to be to apply these SIVs once they get here, if they come?
The process has to slow down. The applicants are going to need to have reference letters, and some of the screening processes probably will not be available. I hope they can do some of the same screening over here, but so we identified one interpreter that had issues, and we had to let him go. We fired him. So there's a possibility, because the Taliban, they're trying to infiltrate areas too. So they get intel fed back to them about what's going on, and so they can strategize themselves. So the State Department, I think, is going to be the lead agency, but I'm pretty sure that it's going to be tied in with Department of Defense and biometrics and some other,
other highly classified means that we might be able to determine the eligibility and identity of these folks when they get out here. And unfortunately, some may have to be expatriated back to either there or a third-party country that might be able to take them as what is it? I'm trying to remember the name of repatriated back to their countries.
That's correct.
All right.
So I don't think everybody's going to get approved, but I think there's a better chance that they're going to get approved now, because I don't think the screening is, maybe we don't have the same robust capabilities if it's done elsewhere other than Afghanistan.
Well, it doesn't sound like whatever they had as a plan moving forward that anybody understood that was coherent. My guess is we're going to go seat of our pants for the next 6 months on what happens with the thousands of refugees that we can pluck out of Kabul. 917, Dan, I appreciate your time. I'll keep your number so we can get a hold of you if I got more questions, all right?
Okay, great.
I do appreciate your time. I certainly will. Yeah, 888-825-5888-TALK. Dan Duvall, and there's somebody that has been through the process of trying to help people get these SIVs, these special immigration visas, to get into the United States of America. 888-8255. I don't know that he needs a special immigration visa. I think Juan Carlos is an actual citizen from around here, aren't you, Juan?
I am.
I thought you might be. Welcome to the program. Good to have you in the studio.
It's always good to be here.
Well, unfortunately, I just discovered I double booked, so I'm going to kick you out of here in a few minutes because I've got Prettier Girls for the Women in Aviation that's going to be coming up. But your thoughts here this morning on Afghanistan?
It's just a sad day. I feel for the young women and women leaders that we have helped and convinced to run for office in Afghanistan, to stand out, to open their own businesses, and their reality of what they're going to be facing moving forward. I don't think that anybody truly believes that there will be no repercussions for them. We had the first elected mayor in Afghanistan, and she's publicly stated, "I'm sitting here waiting to the day they're going to kill me." It's just sad to see. This is the same group of people that shot Malala, just for going for an education, just for advocating for women to be able to get
educated, get a job of one kind or another, live productively in their society. I keep waiting for the loud clamoring from among the larger and louder feminist groups in the United States to start talking about how terrible this all is. But like the ACLU and the COVID thing, they're largely quiet.
Well, it's the U.S. got into this mentality of quoting Shaggy, "It wasn't me." It's not the administration. It was Trump. It's not Trump. It's the Taliban people. It's the Afghanis people. They didn't fight hard enough. We gave them all this money and they didn't use it. Reality is, it is us. It is America who's allowing this to happen. It is all everybody that lives in this country should be appalled about what's going on. and should expect more from our leaders. And it's sad to see that we're not getting it.
Well, unfortunately, given the 18 minutes worth of a speech that Biden made yesterday, where he was blaming virtually everybody but himself, I stand behind this decision that I made. Although I got to say it was odd. He was talking about, well, we would have implemented all of our plans, except that we knew that there were a lot of people that wanted to stay in Afghanistan to see how the new government worked out, which might be among the biggest lies I've ever heard in my life. These people, and you're right, they don't take any more responsibility for this than Hillary Clinton took for Benghazi.
Yeah. And this morning, my daughter was asking me, well, Dad, would you be as upset if Trump was president right now and this happened to him?
Yes.
And I said, absolutely, I would. But I actually don't think that we would be here. And she's like, well, Trump was the one that originally did the plan. And I'm like, how many times did Trump realize, hey, this is going the wrong way, and he changed it? And he said, I'm not doing that. So that would be my expectation. But if he didn't, and if he allowed this to happen, I would be critical of him as I am critical of this president, this administration.
You and I are on the same party, Republican GOP members, largely conservative figures in this community. And I cannot help but look at this as the end of the Biden-Harris administration, one way or the other. I think we're going to be treading water as a nation over the next couple of years. I don't know that he is going to have as much support, even amongst members of his own party. And you've seen the way the mainstream media seems to have turned their back and looking for excuses to try to continue to support the Biden administration. I don't see that happening. Trump is ascendant, and we know that he's going to be a player in the 2022 midterm elections. And as much as I hate to say it, we can't let this disaster go to waste for the Republican Party. How do we exploit it? Sorry, wrong word. Let's use exploit. How do we milk it? I'll use a word that I got from the governor. How do we milk this?
Yeah, we don't exploit it, but we don't forget. And this is something that people will remember, and I hope that they will on Election Day.
We have to remind them every minute is the point.
Right. And at the same time, here's the same administration that's saying we had to leave. We can't change anything that we agreed to. Mm-hmm. It is so expensive. And then they come in with a $1.5 trillion infrastructure package. And then that same day, they present a $3.5 trillion human infrastructure package that they're sending next. Yeah. And I bring these two documents here to show you. This is the executive summary of the $1.5 trillion. It's 129 pages long.
Yeah.
This is the actual bill for $3.5 trillion. It's literally $1 billion a page. That's what they've submitted. It doesn't really say what they're going to spend money. It's just inside of D.C. where they're letting people know, well, we're looking at putting that money.
But this isn't even Obamacare then. So the documentation is all rules and regulations that will eventually be promulgated?
Right.
How do we know what's in it then?
They don't. They basically voted across party lines in the Senate. They send it to the House, and under reconciliation budget rules, they don't need a single Republican vote. So now they're going to substitute this in the House for a version that actually will say what they're going to spend the money on, and then they're just going to send it back to the Senate and vote 51 votes and get it. It is a horrible way, no transparency at all of what's going on.
Again, Obamacare. The Democrats own that. There wasn't a single Republican vote cast in favor of it.
But we need to live with the reality. This is happening. We need to safeguard Guam, make sure that at least we are taken care of. Because once this is done, I don't think the federal government has any more money. I think we've spent it way over our means, and attrition is going to start. No, this is not going to start. This is a tax and spend administration like there never has been before. They're going to pay for all of that by hitting the rich and by hitting businesses who are going to then offshore in any friendly country where they can get the minimum wage under $9 an hour. Yeah, under $15 an hour.
$15 an hour, yeah.
So with that in mind, I will take you to the $1.5 trillion budget. Could you read the first line on how they're going to pay this money?
First line. This is the highlighted section?
Yep.
$210 billion from repurposing of certain unused COVID relief dollars. This includes rescission of funds from COVID relief bills prior to the ARP. Estimated savings produced from reduced uptake and sunsetting of underutilized credits such as employee retention tax credits and savings from the paid leave credits.
Okay.
So we're gonna go ahead and short the middle class.
So here's what's interesting. That's in Washington language.
Mm-hmm.
In English, plain English, all the COVID money that you have not spent, as soon as it caps, is being retaken back by the federal government to spend on this bill.
Okay.
And we are still waiting in Guam to spend the money because we're saying we haven't gotten the final rules.
$553 million.
So if we don't spend our money, we're going to have to return our money. There's no extensions. There's no repurposing. They repurposed it already.
Well, still got, a year and a half to spend the $553 million? Or just waiting out the final rules?
I think you should ask Dave De La Sola about it. First set of funding sunsets in December of this year. Second set of December of next year.
Uh-huh.
When you look at the funding, it's not just the $550 million. For example, the federal government advanced us all the money for the PUA. They advanced us all the money for the unemployment insurance because we didn't have an unemployment insurance program. So on any unspent funds on that program, which ends in September, need to be returned.
Reverts back to the Treasury.
Because they're going to use it for this funding. So as we look at what's coming up, I think we need to look at these two bills in two ways. One is what we need to spend before we lose it. Number two is what we shouldn't use that $550 million on, but instead use the money that's being appropriated in this $1.5 billion package. Because this includes
1.5 trillion. I know. I hear what you're saying, but how transparent is the spend on the 1.5 trillion? Will it come with strings attached the same way some of the American Rescue Plan funds are? That we still don't know months later on what the appropriate ways to spend those dollars are.
Yes, it's a lot more transparent in what you can use the money on. Obviously, the final rules are not there. But, for example, in broadband, they're saying states can spend money to upgrade the broadband system in their states. What's the new standard for them? 100 megabytes per second, 20 megabytes download. So you tell me anybody you know in Guam that has carried those speeds. So there's money, we do not provide those services right now. Guam could make sure that we end up having those upgrades for all our students that are in our public school system who now have to work from home and all those small businesses. There's $70 million minimum for highway repairs in Guam. There's
but we have some of that now, but we can't find contractors to be able to get that done, which should morph into another issue that we need to talk about one of these days. You saw the stories that came out yesterday about 11,500 Filipino workers are going to be needed here on Guam in the next 10 years to be able to take care of all of the construction needs, not just military but civilian as well. They had to let out that project on Challenge San Antonio 3 times. And still never got a big omnibus bidder on everything. So they've broken up the package now so they could get smaller contractors on the job. So it's like, great, we got the money, but we just don't have the people to get the work done.
I agree that that's a challenge that we're going to be facing. My point in this one is use this infrastructure money to build those roads and highways. Don't spend the $550 million that you have. Guam's share should be $93 million for roads and to do the signs, calm traffic, and reduce vehicle speeds. There's going to be $11 billion, $93 million for Guam for pedestrian safety walkways and safety plans for the island. When you look at broadband, it's $55 million that Guam should be getting if they ask for it, towards going into this broadband program to increase the speeds for our rural areas. Ports and waterways, $140 million for Guam, $21 million for Guam Airport for actually doing the needed issues that we need on relief. Now, wastewater, water infrastructure, 47 million. And this is for me interesting. They put 41 million, 47 billion, 41 million is what Guam would get for flooding mitigation after typhoon and weatherizing for resiliency on power grids. And what that means is when you look at the language, they said, if you can assume that the repairs that you're doing will be torn down by another tropical storm and typhoon, we're now allowing you to use the money to go to an alternate method, which for us means undergrounding.
Yeah.
So finally, we got the waiver for undergrounding, and we have money assigned for undergrounding. I wish we'll see undergrounding of those systems as we move forward. And this is just some
if
of
you combine that with if you time it right and get the right people behind it, okay, yeah, we're going to tear up some roads and we're going to put some sidewalks down and we're going to underground the power at the same time. Maybe there's work that can be done with the water and wastewater system while we've got the earth broke open.
Yeah. And not only that, we have all the flooding in Tumon all the time, right? Yeah. $8.5 million for culvert removal, repair, or restoration.
GVB's been needing to do that for a long time. And I know that they've tried to make inroads. Remember their big idea a few years ago was, well, let's pump it all into the bay. And I thought, well, that's the dumbest thing I've ever heard of in my life. And they said, no, it was from the report. That was the mitigation that they said needed to be done. And I said, no, I've read the report. That was one of them. It was the cheapest method. Now maybe they can investigate the idea of pumping some of that rainwater up and putting it into a GWA pipe and sending it up to a wastewater treatment facility.
And I appreciate it. This might not be the end all and be all, but when you leverage the funds that they're giving you here, and it's all you need to, they're going to be grants, so you need to fill the paperwork, ask for it, and move forward. It's a one in a lifetime opportunity for Guam to restructure. I was a little disappointed because I asked with my friends in Washington to try to get the Guam's request for this infrastructure package because they asked all the governors for their most important needs. I was told that Guam didn't submit one, which was sort of surprising. But I'll tell you who submitted one was Puerto Rico. And we talked about the amount of money that Guam...
Just tickles my ear when you say Puerto Rico.
Guam is applying for the roads, right? How much money did the territories get for roads and highways?
No, I don't know. I can't see it yet.
It starts with a 2.
It starts with a 2?
Yeah.
I still can't see it. Are we on the right page? Authorized, there it is, Territorial Puerto Rico Highway Program authorizes increased funding for the Territorial and Puerto Rico Highway Program.
Yeah,
a total of
how many of the territories get?
Territory, it says 900,995,000 for Puerto Rico, 239,505 for the territories. I'm assuming that's split among everybody else.
That's split amongst everybody else. But why didn't we get a larger share? And it's because Puerto Rico came in and said, we have a highway issue. We have a problem with our roads.
We don't actually have highways here.
And they ended up with $900 million extra dollars. It for me is, how many accidents do we get in our roads? Well, the main issue is the water, right? When it rains after a long time.
Well, maybe the brave and courageous members of the minority of the 36 Guam legislature can work a little bit harder and get themselves some kind of voice over at Adelup. I know they've been clamoring for a plan on how she's going to spend $553 million. What happens when our share of $1.5 trillion comes through, plus all the other soft stuff that's going to be happening down the road? I think there needs to be a little bit more clamoring, and if not, then otherwise hold Adelup's feet to the fire on what their plan is. And now it's possible that we're watching other territories get the lion's share of the money and not us.
Yeah, and I think they should, but this administration's position has been very clear. Is they interpret the Organic Act as saying that all federal monies that come to Guam are at the sole discretion of the governorship. It's not that the ARA funding or the or the COVID funding is specifically says it's just for the governors and they decide what to do with it. Her argument, the argument of her legal counsels has been, no, this is your discretion. The legislature of Guam doesn't have anything to say or do with it. I'm concerned that other modern judicial system and a democratic precedents, I don't think that stands water anymore. That system was created when there was a military governor appointed by the federal government and they wanted to make sure that they retain control over what federal outlays they gave on the island. Right now, I don't think it passes separation of powers.
Do we amend the Organic Act? Does it need to go that far, or can we just have that written in from Washington, D.C. administratively?
I think you either amend the Organic Act or you get a courageous senator that has the standing to say, I file a case saying that this is in violation of separation of powers.
I wonder if we know anybody over there that might have the temerity to be able to do something like that. 9:34, and you know how I feel about those sides of the issues. I got to let you run. I appreciate your time. Women in Aviation, a part of the Ray Gibson Show, coming up after these.
Be sure your children are off to a safe and healthy start for the new school year. Make an appointment today at the FHP Health Center to get their annual vaccines, physicals, and vision and dental exams. Our FHP pediatricians, optometrists, and dentists have developed a reliable and trustworthy reputation for delivering the highest quality of care for your family. For an appointment, call 671-646-5825, press 1. Most private insurance plans accepted. FHP Health Center, our island, your clinic.
Looking to furnish your home? Furniture Kathy Style offers a wide variety of beautiful quality home furnishings at affordable prices. Find the best deals with mattresses starting at $169, sofas as low as $699, bed frames starting at $399, and dining sets starting at $499. Schedule a free design consultation and let us help you create a home you love. Follow us on social media, visit our website at FurnitureKathyStyle.com or call us at 300-9590 for more information. Shop with us today.
Looking for a seamless medical trip to Manila? St. Luke's Medical Center's Pacific Islands Medical Referral Package offers a convenient end-to-end medical travel service to St. Luke's Global City. With the package, they also provide assistance in the processing of your air travel requirements, airport to hospital transportation, and hospital room upgrades, all for free. To learn more, call Phil MD at 671-637-5433 or visit their office in Tamuning across the Baltej. At St. Luke's, we love life.
At GTA, we continuously develop digital solutions to build resilience for island businesses in need of agility, speed, and stability. Whether you're a home office or large corporation, we have professional services tailored by our GTA Enterprise experts to evolve your business digital transformation. Let the strength and reliability of our network power your business for years to come, and call us today at 671-644-1000. GTA, we start with you.
936 888 TALK. Ray Gibson in the studio, and kicked out the ugly Juan Carlos Benitez, and now have very beautiful women in the studio right now. Real Joe says, put that camera on Perla. And the answer is yes, absolutely. And good morning to everybody. It's now I'm going to spend what time I've got left in the program with pilots.
Yes.
And so I've got one pilot. And then there's this pilot here that I interviewed once upon a time on the 8th floor of the Bank of Guam. What's your name again?
Hi, my name is Miyukiko Castelny.
That's why I didn't remember it, because it's all right. So and now when I interviewed you, had you already become a licensed jet airplane pilot?
Yes, Ray. I believe the last time I interviewed you, or you interviewed me, I was back here on Guam to see my family. I was working at the regional airlines. But now I've returned to Guam as a United pilot. I'm based here and flying people to and from my home island. My dreams come true.
Well, isn't that great? I wish you were busier. It just seems like, with the COVID and everything, I don't know if we've got the same kind of scheduling opportunities that we had back in the day.
Yes, unfortunately, the COVID pandemic has affected many industries, aviation being one of them. One of my favorite things was bringing tourists to the island, as well as family members, connecting people on the island hopper. Although the flights have been reduced a little bit, we're still flying. Flying is slowly increasing too. In fact, next week I'll be going to Manila, flying to Chukpanape all the way to Honolulu soon too. So we're hoping that flights come back and I can do what I love, is connecting people and uniting the world.
I'm looking forward to keeping you as busy as possible and keeping you here on Guam as long as possible, because I think you're an inspiration to a lot of young ladies, and that's one of the reasons why we are all in the studio today. Perla's with an outfit on Guam called Women in Aviation, and it was 2 years ago that we were all huddled up at the
just a year ago.
Was it a year ago? It feels like it was a lot longer than that.
ago,
No, it was the
Ray.
beginning of COVID when it was March of 2020.
Just last year.
But, but it's 18 months ago then. It was forever a long time ago that we were all up at the tarmac at the Guam International Airport on the side, and we had a great get together, and it was
So
wonderful.
much fun.
Oh my God, it was crazy fun.
It was at Aviation Concepts Hangar.
Michelob Ultra everywhere, and that was nice because you've got a lot of fans in the Shimazu family.
We sure do.
Mm-hmm.
We sure do because John and Frank are my fathers in aviation. That's what I call them.
Their fathers in aviation?
My fathers in aviation.
Those guys are my classmates. Get out here with that fathers in aviation
so
stuff.
Frank was the individual who took me out on my first Discovery flight.
It's Frank Jr.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. And so what did you call it, a Discovery flight?
It's a Discovery flight, which is what Sarah does.
Sarah is in the studio. Hi, Sarah. How you
Sarah
doing?
is amazing. She is 19, if I'm not mistaken. Our youngest and newest upcoming pilot here on the island. She works for a very new opened general aviation school on Guam called ID Services.
Okay, we'll
Sarah.
talk about that in a couple of minutes. Now, are you left side certified now?
Yes.
Yes, you are. Yes, you are. You can really.
Yes.
So you can take me. If I said I want somebody to put me on a little plane and take me around the island so I can look for marijuana fields, could it be you?
Yes, it could be me.
Very cool. Now, is it 19? You said?
Yes.
Ray, she's a certified flight instructor. That's what
And
Sarah
an,
is.
and an instructor.
Yes.
And an instructor.
That's her
So it's not just
position
pilot. Well,
at ID.
So I get really excited about this conversation because when we first start talking about things like this, one of them is all the different places where in aviation, career opportunities in aviation. Everybody says, well, there's flight attendants obviously, but not every woman wants to be a flight attendant. Some want to sit in the front pointy end of the airplane, and then you go, okay, well we can be pilots. So pilot in the studio, but that's not
and flight attendant.
And flight attendant, and so they say if you'll never be the one that says, "Is there anyone on the airplane with flight experience?" Because you've got it, right?
That's correct.
So, but there's so many other places. One of the more exciting things that occurred in the get together that we had over at the place last year was there were a number of people, women in the military, in the Air Force in particular, that did all kinds of other stuff.
Yes.
I mean,
we had, I believe,
mechanics. We had mechanics.
Yes. I believe she worked on, or she was an engineer with the bomb squadron or something like that.
But there were loaders in there and people that just whatever it is. I mean, there's 1,000 different jobs in and around airports and around airplanes.
Very diverse.
And everybody thinks, well, that's a man's job. Well, there's no man's job in aviation.
Not.
So and now the other thing.
Have you seen me, Ray?
I have, and I've seen you controlling the UAVs for Bella Wings.
That is correct.
Which is a whole nother adventure that you and Charlie have these days. I'm just excited about everything that's going to be taking place. So we've got the inspiration in the studio. For those of you that are listening and have young women in your life, and you're worried that they're going to get hooked up with absolutely the wrong guy and never be able to figure out what life is like beyond the village, beyond the door to the front house, or beyond the mall, there are great opportunities and international opportunities in aviation. And it doesn't. I don't want to say it doesn't take a lot to do, but like anything else, you've got some perseverance and some people to guide you.
And Coco is very, very diverse with, she's got a full knowledge behind her. She's a part of many, many organizations.
Well, can I give you another piece of truth? There's not even with the downturn in the airline business as a result of COVID and lots of airplanes that are parked right now. It's not going to be like that forever. And right around the same time that you came in for your first interview with me, among the topics was the airlines all saying we got to start training more pilots here. We're running short. A lot of guys are in the retirement path and aren't thinking about it anymore. And maybe COVID hurried that along for a lot of people. So when the planes start flying, they're going to need some more people to fly them.
Absolutely, Ray. You mentioned that. It's a great point. And I just recently came back from my annual recurrent training from the mainland, and flights were absolutely packed. Airports were busy. The demand for flying is slowly coming back, especially in the domestic U.S. Pilots are needed. My airline's training center was bustling. And this is why I want to talk about the Women in Aviation organization. It's a phenomenal networking, mentoring, and friendship. I mean, I have gained valuable friends for a lifetime, as well as great mentors. But also, the organization offers scholarships on a national level, mentoring, job connections, internship connections. And right here on Guam, we have our very own Guam chapter. Perla is our president. I'm the vice president, and we're here to talk about an event that we have coming up tomorrow.
And we'll get around to doing that. I'm having a good time with this part here because we start talking about airlines, and most people you close your eyes and think, okay, I'm going to the Manila, I'm going to fly, I'm going to go on a vacation with the family and all this other stuff. But one of the places where aviation was absolutely vital here on Guam in the last 12 months has been in freight. In carrying all kinds of things from the Amazon.com fulfillment centers all across the country and mail, U.S. mail into Guam that they had to charter, 24 additional flights a week in order to meet that demand. And it's going to be the same thing when it gets to be Christmas around here. So there's a great big demand for people that don't necessarily care about how many people we have in the back, as how much are we able to carry and airlift in terms of freight from one place to the other. Did you do any of those flights?
Actually, I did get to fly a flight that had vaccines on it, which is really nice.
Wow.
United was actually the first U.S. airline certified to transport the vaccines once they were developed around the world. And it was very interesting because a lot of those have to be kept at a very cold temperature. So special certification with the FAA was needed in order to carry the dry ice. So it was very interesting. A lot of people worked very hard around the company and around the world to get those out in a timely manner, in addition to medical supplies like masks and PPEs. So it was being a small part of that felt really good.
Well, and for people around here that needed those vaccines, that lived and died without them, I mean, obviously we're glad that happened. And no surprise, hometown airline that was recognized for that. And it wasn't that long ago that a number of the airlines, United, Philippine Airlines, and I'm trying to remember was it EVA? One of the other little guys out of Taiwan, I think, were recognized by the governor for their participation in keeping things moving across the Pacific, specifically to Guam. 9:46, and you're right, there's an event that is going to be coming up. Tell me all about that, Pearl. Where are we going to be at?
We'll let Coco speak about it.
Coco, Vice President.
She always does such a great job.
Use that pilot voice.
All right. I'll try to get my passenger announcement voice. Well, tomorrow, the Women in Aviation Guam chapter is having a relaunch event. We had an event last year like we were talking about earlier, but unfortunately, COVID kind of dampened the rest of the year. So we're trying to come back out with a nice, fun bang, and we are going to have a fundraising event at Aviation Concepts Hangar in Tizon.
Easy to find.
Easy to find. We're going to have some delicious food, nice complimentary beverages, but the most important part is cool airplanes to look at for static displays, experienced pilots and other aviation industry key speakers to talk to. We're going to have some United pilots there. Sarah is going to talk about her experience being a young pilot and instructing on Guam. We also have a female pilot from our home squadron in Guam and Anderson, HSC 25, come and talk to.
Oh, very cool.
Yes, I'm excited to have her talk about her experience because I can't imagine how awesome it would be to fly
a helicopter, fixed-wing lady, helicopter lady coming in,
and rescuing and being such a vital part of this island's community and mission. It's got to be awesome. But the fun doesn't just stop there.
Wait a minute. Do you think you could do a helicopter? I mean, the aviation, fly an airplane is one or two different things, but flying a helicopter feels like you got to be like a drummer in a rock band. Both feet are going, both hands are going, and there's all the situational awareness that you've got to have in something like a rotor-based aircraft.
I got to hand it to helicopter pilots. I've been in a lot of helicopter tours. I have about 3 hours of flight time of lesson time in a helicopter. It's a lot of coordination. Yes. But I mean, I learned fixed wing first, so to me that's kind of my second nature. But man, those helicopter pilots are very talented. So we're excited to have her tomorrow.
Did we see an Osprey here? They're thinking about that and hybrids. You go from fixed wing and then we've got the helicopter rotating aircraft.
At ACI hangar, there's a lot of aircrafts that come in. You're lucky when you.
There was an Osprey.
I mean, there's a lot of behind the scenes going on at ACI. It's fun.
There's a lot going on Guam. I mean, we got the Singapore Airlines, and they're out there. The airlines, the Air Force, and they're out here doing some training. We've had a couple of major military exercises take place here on Guam. And I tell you what, I mean, just looking up at the sky, what an air show it's been, right?
Oh,
has that been inspirational for you, Sarah?
Yes.
Looking at some of that, what is your end goal? I mean, you're 19 years old, millennial.
I love I love it. We're so proud of Sarah.
But I mean, you're in the age group that says, okay, I'm going to have a lot of different kind of careers in my life. I'm going to take a little bit of this and see what I love. Obviously, a love for aviation. Where is it aviation you intend to stay with as part of your career journey?
Yes.
Yeah.
I would love to end up in United.
Mm-hmm.
That's my goal, but throughout
CEO, right? Just go for CEO.
Sure.
Aim high.
As long as she gets to fly. As long as she gets to fly.
I get to fly. As long
That's
as
the
I'm
goal.
in the aviation career, I think that's a win for me. I love to fly.
Now, what did it take to become an instructor? I mean, because it sounds like, it's already a tough job with all of the moving parts and everything. And you're up in a sky like a bird, and then you say, okay, I know how to do this. I'd like to teach other people. What steps did you need to become somebody that can teach?
So I went to a very fast track course.
Mhm.
I went to the States. I did all my training about in 10 months, and I knew that teaching will be very helpful to become a better pilot because you have to understand, to know how to fly, to teach it to someone.
Yeah.
So I knew it was going to benefit me to become a better pilot. And that's
So I think about pilots in this way. So the front end of the airplane, and we're going to take it up to this speed, and then we're going to pull back, and then we're going to be up in the sky, and we'll do this for a while, and then eventually land the airplane. But there's so much else that goes along with it. You're not the only one.
No.
There's the whole crew behind you, and there's other guys in the front end of the airplane, and then there's dealing with the airports and landing and how to move around to get from point A to point B in the airplane.
Best ride of your life.
Is it? Is that
sure
what
is.
Really? Because it looks like it might be among the rest of it the most complicated.
Every pilot can honestly say that their first solo flight was like the best experience ever because it's the first time you get to fly alone. And it's unbelievable that they even allow you, even at such a young age, to take that
control of the airplane,
Yes.
and then land it someplace. But I mean, I'm thinking about complicated airports that I've flown into, like say Narita, or you get down into some of the other ones. I've flown into Shanghai once upon a time, and it is incredible the intensity of this airport. How do you know where you're going when you land an airplane in some place like that?
Well, Ray,
the airport's as big as Guam, for God's sakes.
Well, Ray, it first starts with having great crews.
Mm-hmm.
At United, we always have a co-pilot and a captain, first officer and captain, and we work together as a crew to be ultimately prepared. I was a Girl Scout growing up, and I'm Golden Girl Scout, so the motto is always prepared, and that's something that I've truly carried with me. Before my flight, I always look at the airport beforehand, the night before, check the weather, make sure I know what we're doing, and we have dispatchers up in Chicago that plan our flight. They look up the weather extensively, our routes. Just yesterday morning, flew to Saipan and back with the tropical storm or tropical depression kind of still dissipating but coming near. A lot of planning went into that. The captain and I thoroughly discussed weather. We had pages and pages of briefing from our dispatchers that were monitoring the weather, and we talk about it. We pretend, or not pretend, but we go over this. We look at our charts. We pretend to fly it. Say, okay, we're going to land here today. Okay, let's go do that, and we execute the plan.
For something as simple as the little puddle jump between here and Saipan?
A lot of preparation goes in between that. It's not just the pilots planning, saying, let's go land on that runway. I mean, we have our load planners, our baggage handlers here in Guam, our tug drivers, the flight attendants making sure everyone's safe and seated. And yesterday was a little challenging, actually, because it was quite turbulent with all that pressure systems and the tropical depression kind of still lingering around. So, we had to make sure everyone was seated the entire flight and pick a safe flight route to fly around the clouds and ensure the best smooth ride that we could offer.
And see me in first class with my mimosa and having a good time and reading my magazines while all of this work otherwise is taking place in the front pointy end of the aircraft. So tomorrow over on the tarmac?
Yes, Aviation Concepts Hangar, 5 p.m. to 8 p.m., cocktail reception. Real sweet, simple, but again, like Coco mentioned, static displays. We have a nice variety of aircrafts on display, and it's always the fun part of the event.
So,
and have we mentioned the raffles and the giveaways and the
I
grand?
didn't hear a word about raffles and giveaways.
Yeah. So we're gonna have some nice raffles and gifts. Everybody gets a goodie bag.
I want to sit in the right chair.
Well,
yes.
Did you say that you wanted to sit in the right chair? Because our grand prize is a discovery flight on Guam. So you get to fly in an aircraft and be in control of that
With
airplane
Sarah.
with, yes, an instructor like Sarah in there. And you get to see the beautiful views, the southern
wildly
mountains,
inadequate.
the coral reefs.
Mhm.
You can fly around Guam, and that is our grand prize. In addition to some great other prizes, and everybody gets some cool goodies like some sunglasses and stickers, and it's going to be a great time.
I still have my bottle opener from last time, the little airplane-looking bottle opener. I haven't lost that. 9:54 in the morning. Women in Aviation, and again 5 o'clock tomorrow at Aviation Concepts. How much money should I have for me at the door?
$50, please.
Okay.
And more, because you want to donate to the organization.
We'll
We're a
keep you guys going
nonprofit
for a while.
organization. Yes, we're a nonprofit organization. We take all kinds of monies.
Because it takes all kinds of monies to keep things going and keep the lights on in the organization and to try to bring in as many people as possible. Are we in the schools? Women in Aviation in the schools? You know, Mayumi's 17, thinking about a career, and I'd sure like for United to pay for her education as opposed to me.
Are we in the schools? That's always a goal. We're always looking to get out there and spread the word and give some insight.
Yeah.
As well, our big thing here, Ray, is scholarships. Money shouldn't have to be an issue. We don't want it to prevent anyone from starting or
Because it sounds
continuing their
expensive.
career.
Going to airplane school sounds like an expensive proposition. Was it for you? I mean, did you have to make a lot of sacrifices, Sarah, in order to be a part of this? I mean, moving to the States. You said a 10-week program in the States.
10 months.
10-month program in. So you resident for a while, huh?
Yeah, but I think it's cheaper than college
Mm.
because if you, as living here, Guam, you had to still pay international fee or
Yeah.
out of state, so that's more expensive. I was able to pay my flights go about the same time doing online college, so that makes it cheaper comparing to going 4 years college at that state.
Now, how folks in your family, when you told them where you were going and what you were doing, what kind of reaction did they have?
They expected it. They knew that I wanted to become a pilot since I was little. Both of my parents are in the aviation field. That's how I got into the aviation field.
Okay, all right.
Well,
so the coconuts don't fall very far from the tree around here.
Sarah's one of the truly, truly blessed ones as far as, being able to pursue her aviation career. Her mom is wonderful Hitomi Gilead, and her dad is Andre Gilead, pilot with United as well.
Okay, all right, yep. And people are nodding their head down saying, okay, yep, sounds very, very familiar. What advice do you have for young girls your age, 16, 17 years old, and you're looking at the world and wondering what I can do in this? I mean, I sort of want to say, well, you can do it. Anybody can do it.
Yeah.
You've got it in your background, though. It's in your DNA, so I don't know about that. But what advice do you have for other young ladies that are listening to and young guys, I suppose, saying maybe this is for me?
If they really want it, just chase it. People think you have to be super smart, you have to be wealthy.
I know pilots. No, that's not the case.
But you don't have to be smart. You don't have to be rich. You don't have to be anything. You just have to have a passion and never give up, because I am glad I didn't give up. Every single day I wanted to quit, but my parents pushed me.
Yeah.
And I'm so glad I didn't. You just need that passion, because you can't do anything without passion.
Favorite part?
Favorite part of flying?
Yeah. And you can say, of my day, if you got one day as a lousy day, nothing is going right for you. Somebody hands you the keys to the airplane and you take it up. What is your favorite part of that process?
I love landing the planes. When you have smooth landings, that just makes your day so much better.
Wait, shouldn't they all be smooth?
They should all be smooth, but sometimes when it's windy.
Yeah.
When you're,
Okay, so question for the United pilot here. Have you ever made and landed so hard the mask came down? Have you ever done something? No,
we
of
no longer have 727s on our fleet.
Oh, I see. But that's a tricky one, isn't it? Takeoffs is one thing, but landing is another. You're basically flying controlled into the ground when that happens. So what's it take to get that right every single time?
I mean, practice in the simulator, but also too, we have a thing called go around. If we feel unsafe or uncomfortable a little bit at all, we just take the plane around. Most people panic when that happens, but it's just completely normal. And it could be something caused by someone else. Maybe an airplane didn't get off the runway in time, or air traffic control wanted us to go and say, hey, can you guys just go around?
Yeah.
Just safety's key, and that's the number one thing in flying. So, and we're prepared. Like I said, the Girl Scout motto is something I always keep in my heart.
Yep.
Always prepared for anything. That's why we look to work together as a team, make sure that we're prepared and we can do the smoothest landing.
Guam International Airport, obviously a favorite. Do you have another favorite airport that you like to fly into?
Oh, that's tricky. You know, flying out here, being Guam-based pilot, I love doing the world-famous island hopper that United offers.
I'll be darned.
Yes. So, we go from Guam to Chuuk, Ponape, Kasare, Kwajalein, Majuro, and then finally in Honolulu. And I love doing that because it's just amazing views of atolls, beautiful runways. And not only that, it's shorter runways, so it's sporty and challenging, fun to land. And then also, I love connecting a lot of our neighboring outer islanders to their family members.
I love that perspective. So. You can have it as well if you want to be a part of the process. Women in Aviation tomorrow, 5 o'clock at the Aviation Concepts on Tees. Easy to get to. They'll probably have signs up for you at that one good intersection that takes you to Tees.
We will have signs up.
But otherwise, just go up until you hit airport and then make a right-hand turn, and you're where?
You're on Guam. You can't get lost.
Exactly. Everywhere you need to be. If you need to get a hold of Pearl, if you've got other questions, beep me on my WhatsApp, and I'll be happy to transfer them and move them along to you. World Wide Web and
www.wai.org, or we're also on Facebook.
Gotcha.
Women in Aviation Guam chapter.
The radio station's KUSG. I got you 93.3 for Real Joe, Montesilva Tyron, and Jerry Roberts. Ray Gibson saying, see you later. Here's Fox News Live.
Sarah, Fox News. The Biden administration sticking by the decision to pull all U.S. troops out of Afghanistan, even as major cities and now a majority of the country has fallen to the Taliban.
We were clear-eyed going in when we made this decision that it was possible that the Taliban would end up in control of Afghanistan. We were clear-eyed about that.
National Security Advisor Jake Sullivan. The Taliban entered Kabul over the weekend as U.S. diplomats and the Afghans who helped them are slowly being airlifted out. The State Department says a core group will remain to assist in the evacuation. The Air Force is investigating human remains found in the wheel well of a cargo plane following a quick evacuation from Afghanistan earlier this week.
The Air Force Office of Special Investigations has opened a review after the discovery of human remains in the wheel well of a C-17 aircraft. That aircraft delivered a load of equipment to Kabul's airport Sunday and was surrounded by hundreds of Afghan civilians. A statement from the Air Force says the air crew decided to depart as quickly as possible. Online videos showed people falling from the plane as it was taking off. The human remains were discovered after landing in Qatar. The plane has now been impounded for an inspection. Pentagon officials say the airport has since been secured. Evacuation flights have resumed. In Washington, Jared Halpern, Fox News.
Los Angeles County's health department says fans attending large outdoor events like baseball and football games and concerts that attract over 10,000 people will need to wear masks regardless of vaccination status. The move expands on a July mandate requiring masks indoors in public places. The TSA has extended its mask mandate at airports, on planes, buses, trains, and in transit hubs through January 18th. The current directive was set to run through September 13th. America is listening to Fox News.
Get all of your favorite Fox News podcasts ad-free on Apple Podcasts with Fox News Podcasts Plus. From Trey Gowdy, the Fox News Rundown, Will Kane, Brian Kilmeade, and so much more. Go to foxnewspodcasts.com for all the details. The Fox News Rundown. Start your day with a contrast of perspectives you won't hear anywhere else. A daily morning